High school football is back here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network as we welcome you to Maya Family Field on the campus of Archbishop Riordan High School in San Francisco. It is time for varsity football. My name's Stephen Davies. Pleased to be with you wherever you are watching this game across the state or across the country. And it's my pleasure to be joined by Archbishop Riordan Athletic Director Bob Green. As we say good afternoon to Bob, this is a day I imagine that there must have been times in the last year that you wondered was ever going to come.
Well, you knew eventually it would come. You didn't know exactly when, and you probably aren't thinking that you're going to be playing football in March, but here we are. It's a beautiful day, and this reminds me a lot of the day that we had back in November of 2019 in terms of the weather and just the excitement, albeit with a lot fewer people. The last time we played a game on this field against the Sacred Heart Cathedral Irish, that was a good day for Riordan, but really a good day for everybody in terms of what that event meant, this new field at the time. And now we're back, again, like I said, with a lot fewer people in the stands, but we're excited to be here for other reasons.
Quickly, Riordan won the toss they will receive to begin the first half of play. Riordan are in the purple uniforms with the white and gold trim on the numbers, the white helmets and the white pants. Sacred Heart Cathedral with the forest green helmets and the white uniforms. And as Bob alluded to, that game was back in November of 2019. A Stanfield Cup matchup between the two teams, a 44-7 victory for Riordan, the first time that they'd beaten Sacred Heart Cathedral since 2015, which was also the last West Catholic Athletic League victory as well, I might add. So there's certainly some revenge on the part of current head coach Barry McLaughlin. He's in his fourth season. He has a record of 12-21 overall, and he is excited as anybody to get back out here on the field today. We've talked to him during the week, and his team is super fired up for this, as you can imagine pretty much everyone is, including you and I, Bob. And we'll see perhaps a little bit more passing this time around than we've seen from Sacred Heart Cathedral in prior years.
Well, they can throw it. They like to throw it, and they've got playmakers. They've got a good quarterback. They know that they are going to want to play a lot better than they did the last time they were here. But, again, we talk about that as if it's kind of fresh because it's the most recent season, but it was a long time ago.
It really was. I mean, the best part of 16 months or so. But when you think about this Riordan program, it had been the best part of 5 years since they played a game here on their campus. So, as you can imagine, the Crusaders best pleased to be back here playing in front of the home crowd. And what a home crowd we have. We'll get to that in just a moment as we are ready for kickoff. As I mentioned, Riordan won the toss. They opted to receive, and we're about to get underway on a beautiful afternoon in the city by the bay. Short kickoff will be fielded by Riordan right around their own 10-yard line. They bring it up to the 20, losing their footing and going to ground. That was number 9, Zion Best. And we'll get our first look at the Crusader offense led by the 3-year starter, Azan A.Z. Ledbetter.
So this will be a big series for Riordan because of the fact that they want to establish running the football with their new offense. Their offensive coordinator from a year ago is now the head coach at Menlo Atherton, Chris Saunders, and they've got new offensive leadership. And Mark Modeste, the head coach in his second year, has really taken over as the offensive coordinator along with Mike Williams and Jason Simpson, who are new to the staff.
Mark Modeste, 3-7 in his second year coaching this Crusader program. Each player today allowed to bring 2 people to attend the game. So each player has 2 friends or family in attendance. Ledbetter will hand off here on first down in the gain of about 4 as he hands off to his running back. That's number 4, Faison Ruth, who rushed for 985 yards in 2019 but was injured in the game against Sacred Heart Cathedral the last time these two teams met.
Yeah, Riordan ran the ball very, very well in that game back in 2019, but Faison was not part of that. He was a big part of the team early on in the season, but he didn't play in that game due to injury. Cost him a 1,000-yard season. He'd like to have a big year this year in this abbreviated spring season.
The other feature back we'll be talking a lot about today is Atu Kefu. He's wearing number 42, designated as a fullback, but we'll see him in the backfield today for the Crusaders. This is another handoff to Ruth there on second down. Let's bring up a third and manageable for the Crusaders.
And this really is a good start for Riordan. If you look at the game that they played, the scrimmage at Carlmont last week, they hit on 3 or 4 big plays, but they did not do this. Granted, it was a scrimmage, totally different setup. It's controlled, all that stuff, but they didn't kind of churn 3 or 4 yards on the ground consistently. They have so far through 2 plays here.
The Crusaders' victory against Sacred Heart was the first time they defeated Sacred Heart since 2013. So Riordan think they may have turned a corner with that victory late on in 2019, but of course the pandemic has scuttled even the best laid plans for both teams. Third down and about 1.5 yards, then for Ledbetter. He hands off to his big fullback, and there he is, Cafu, driving across the 40-yard line in a fresh set of downs for the Crusaders.
I'm just not sure what you're supposed to do with that. Atu Kefu is obviously very big, but he's incredibly agile as well. And so in a situation like that, you're not going to hold him to less than 1 yard, and he gets a big gainer when it's all said and done.
I don't have the height and weight statistics here in front of me, but that's a side of beef out there, a fullback for the Crusaders.
He's a big guy, no doubt about it, and he's a fun guy. He's a guy that when he does well, the team does better because he's someone that everyone really likes, and he's excitable. And he gets the momentum going for the team.
His older brother played a big part in that 2019 victory against Sacred Heart Cathedral. 1st and 10, then Crusaders from their own 46-yard line. Ledbetter's under center. Hands off to the big man once again. He plows forward across midfield. Gained about 5. Now the ball came out at the end of the play. Sacred Heart Cathedral think that they have it.
So now they're going to talk about it. Still no signal. They're going to say down.
Referee today, Mac Parfit, the white hat, will say the ball remains with the Crusaders for now.
So the first kind of momentum moment really to Riordan, because Sacred Heart Cathedral thought they had a big turnover in the middle of the field, and instead it's still Riordan ball, and they're in good shape here.
Sacred Heart Cathedral winning the freshman game 22-0. We'll discuss the statistics from that game in just a moment. In the meantime, it's 2nd down and 5 from the Fighting Irish 49. Ledbetter turns and hands off. Losing his footing, going to ground was Ruth. Maybe gaining about 1 yard, 1.5 yards or so. It's going to bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, he cut. That's twice now. We saw it on the kickoff, and we saw it there where a Riordan ball carrier slipped planting to cut. So keep an eye on that. Maybe could just be an aberration, but that's now happened twice, and we are very early in this game.
And Ruth is actually going to come to the sidelines to take this play off here on 3rd down and a long 3. Notice Ruth came over the sideline, had a quick word with one of the coaching staff, so he will take this play off. He's replaced in the backfield by number 9, the junior Zion Bess, with Cafu lined up in front of him. 3rd down and a long 3. It's a toss to Bess, and Bess has nowhere to go, and there are 3 or 4 Sacred Heart Cathedral defenders in the vicinity. Leading the charge there was number 6, Jerry Mixon, the sophomore linebacker. That's the name we're going to call a lot for the Fighting Irish here this afternoon.
Huge play. Great job by the Irish defense there, and the real key there is it's a loss. So now you're in a situation where you're going to probably decide to just punt it. If you would have got nothing or maybe picked up 1 yard or 2, maybe you consider going for it on 4th down, but that's not really an option now.
That's a nice finish on the play. Bruce Upareza, the junior linebacker, he's a two-way player. He'll play a little receiver as well as middle linebacker for the Fighting Irish and Coach Barry McLaughlin. It's a punting situation then for the Crusaders. And this one is a short kick, goes end over end. Doesn't take much of a kind bounce, and it is eventually down by number 33, the junior Michael Gormley. And we'll get our first look at the Sacred Heart Cathedral offense led by the senior quarterback and captain, Kean Dowling.
Very talented quarterback, very capable player, and he's the type of guy that if he gets hot, he can carry a team in a ball game. So the Irish are going to lean on him, I would imagine, heavily today, and the Crusaders are going to have to defend him well. They did a really nice job against him, obviously, in the game here back in 2019, but he's capable of putting up big numbers.
He was just 10 of 23 for 110 yards and a touchdown in the loss to Riordan in 2019. It's a handoff on 1st down, and that maybe barely got back to the line of scrimmage, brings up a quick 2nd down.
You know, one of the things about this Riordan team is that this defense and this defensive line especially could end up being very, very strong. I mean, when you think about some of the top defensive lines in the WCAL, it's easy to think about teams like Sarah and
Sure.
St. Francis. But I think, and again, I'm biased, I'm the athletic director, but I think our defensive line play could be as good as anybody in the league.
Loss of a yard on the play, brings up 2nd down and 11. Dowling is going to keep this one himself, tries to get to the outside, has a step on a couple of the defenders across the 45 to about the 46, maybe the 47-yard line or so. but Dowling will make this the third and manageable for the Fighting Irish.
To me, that's really the key with trying to defend Dowling is you've got to do a good job defending his legs. You know what he can do with his arm, but when he has the added element of his running ability, it makes it all that much more difficult to defend him.
As we take a look at the replay here, Dowling, with a little bit of pace set to get to the outside, cuts back in. That's a decent gain to set up a third and about long two here with 6 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play. Well, we could not have asked for a better day for this, Bob.
No.
Beautiful spring weather here in the city by the bay.
And it's been really, really cold leading up to the last couple of days. I mean, it has been very cold, a very cold March around here. Not a lot of rain. We got some rain on Thursday, and now the warmer weather has shown up, and it has shown up right on time for us.
Full receiver set, single running back here for Dowling in the shotgun. Will hand off to his running back, and he's going to be stopped about a yard shy as he was handing off that to the big junior running back, Derek Regans. Also a two-way play. He's going to play some defensive end today as well.
Samuel Casey among the Crusaders that were there to stop him short of the first down. And unlike the Crusaders, though, on their third down play, the Irish didn't go backwards, so they are in a spot where they're probably going to go for this.
They are indeed, and we saw this in the freshman game earlier on this morning, going for it multiple times on fourth down. Let's see if Dowling in the offense can make the Crusaders pay here. Quick first quarter, 5:40 to go. Dowling trying to hand off, breaks one tackle, loses the ball, and there's a wild scramble for this.
So we talk about the defense, we talk about the defensive line, we talk about the front of Riordan, and they show up big there on that play.
Dowling attempted the initial handoff, was unable to complete the exchange. Breaks out to the outside, but was met by a host of Riordan defenders here as we take a look at the replay. But that's an encouraging start for the Riordan defense, to be sure, Bob.
Very significant play. You think about it, if the Irish pick that up, they're 1st and 10 right around midfield. Instead, it's Riordan ball in plus territory, and now they've got a chance to maybe put something together here and get the first score of the season.
5:32 remaining first quarter here on a spring afternoon in the city by the bay. And we're going to have a timeout call by the Crusaders. Coach Modest has called timeout. We'll do the same here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. Back with more in a moment.
This is about more than work. It's about growing a community.
Go to Gray's. Gray's.
All right, now you're just like.
Welcome back to Maya Family Field on the campus of Archbishop Riordan High School in San Francisco, the Carl Gellert and Celia Berta Gellert Athletic Complex. And it is a fantastic venue here. No fewer than 4 sports representative. My note collecting serves me right there, Bob. I think.
Well, and let's not forget, we played volleyball matches out here recently.
Okay.
So we can't go inside,
Sure.
so we did a little abbreviated girls volleyball season, playing the other city schools out of the WCAL right here on our field.
So 1st and 10, Crusaders after the turnover on downs from Sacred Heart Cathedral. Ledbetter play action. Look downfield, is going to keep this himself. Nice moves from Ledbetter. Makes the man miss across the 30. He has the first down and more to the 25 and is forced out of bounds right around the 22-yard line. AZ Ledbetter with a big carry there on first down.
He had a nice run in the scrimmage against Carlmont. AZ is a very athletic guy, very capable, and really right there, you do the play fake, you see if you got something long, and then you tuck it and run. And AZ is a guy that he runs it differently out of this offense than Dowling does from his quarterback spot with the Irish, but he is effective as well.
And that's the sort of moxie that a 3-year varsity starter would have, to know when it plays, potentially busted, make things happen himself. Did a nice job there, sets up a first down from the 22-yard line. So the Crusaders in business here with 5:14 to go in the first quarter of play. Ledbetter goes under center, receivers to each side of the formation. Turn and hand off. Running back breaks one tackle, is forced out of bounds. That was Ruth.
And that was all phase on there. He made that happen. There wasn't a lot of space for him around that side, but he got away from the initial contact, and then he made something out of really what looked to be nothing.
Sacred Heart Cathedral going to 4-4 defense, 4 in the front line, 4 linebackers. So our officials today, Mac Parfit, the referee. The umpire is Eduardo Nuno. The head linesman is Tino Felice. Chip Fugate is the line judge. The back judge is David Adams, and the field judge, Jason Fugate. So, 2nd and 2 from the 14-yard line. Ledbetter hands off to Cafu, and, well, it took all of the effort there of number 34. Bear with me a moment. That's to bring him down for Sacred Heart Cathedral. That was number 34, John Murphy, making the tackle. But not before a first down is earned by the Crusaders.
Riordan taking a long time here to get the play. They're getting it signaled from the sideline. You see Ledbetter looking over there to get the play, and now he goes to the huddle, and he's still looking over, so they may need to burn another timeout here.
Crusaders have already used the timeout here in the first quarter of play. 4.5 minutes to go in the first.
Offensive line doing a real nice job. They're playing much better than they did in terms of the run game in the scrimmage last week against Carlmont. And now there is the timeout.
There's a timeout. So we'll stay on here, but Bob, let's talk a little bit about the COVID protocols we've had to go through to get to this point.
Sure.
To have fans in attendance and to have the players test and so forth. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing behind the scenes.
Well, so we do weekly testing for football in our whole league, and we have tests on Monday for everyone that's involved in football operations, if you will. So if you're, a trainer, you're someone like myself, coaches, players, obviously, you're getting, COVID tested weekly. In order to do this, we've got the screening, the health screening daily, whether it be for practice or for games. So there's basically a check-in procedure for everyone, and
Sure.
that happened today for this game as well. But we've been doing a lot of that stuff since all the way back in June when we got workouts going out here. So some of this stuff has been just a ramping up of what we already have done for a while, and that's helped a lot. But this is far different than your normal high school football season for a variety of reasons, not the least of which, of course, is that it's happening in March and April.
Worth noting also, this is considered a non-league game,
That's right.
although these two teams will meet again April 16th or 17th. I believe it's a Saturday, right?
16th we'll play at Kezar Stadium.
There we go. And that will be for the Stanfield Cup, the 2021 edition of the Cup. The two teams have split the last 10 apiece since the turn of the century. 1st and 10, Crusaders, and rolling out his Ledbetter, looking for the end zone. His receiver makes a catch!
What a catch!
Brilliant catch for the touchdown! Outstanding from Aiden Jackson, the wide receiver, and what a play from the senior.
That was as impressive as his return for a touchdown here in 2019 against the Irish. The return was amazing, no doubt about it. It was electrifying. It got this place lit up. But that was every bit as impressive because he had to catch that with no room to spare.
Great throw from Ledbetter through it where only his receiver could catch it. But what a grab he had to make, going to ground. Got both hands on the ball. Reeled it in. We'll see that in a moment. In the meantime, the extra point. And the Crusaders are on the board here with 4:13 to go in the first quarter of play. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kick is up and off the crossbar and good. Wow.
I think it got deflected. And I was just about to say, of all the things that are probably going to suffer in a season like this, special teams are probably going to suffer quite a bit. And so any special teams that's a positive, you got to take as gravy at this point. Look at the replay there. What a throw, what a catch.
And he had the defender draped all over him. And you got to give some credit there to Ray John Jackson on the coverage there for Sacred Heart Cathedral. Not much else, Bob, he could have done on that play.
Well, there's nothing else he could do. And you look at it, what a great ball by AZ, an amazing catch by Aiden, great defense. Nothing you could do. It's just the way it goes. And I was thinking about this yesterday, especially in a season like this. I feel like the best players, the top players, are going to impact the game that much more because you don't have the ability to coach up the middle or bottom players on your roster. So guys like Ledbetter, guys like Faison Ruth, guys like Atu Kefu, guys like Aiden Jackson are going to have to rise up. And then for the Irish, somebody like Dowling is going to have to play really well. That's always the case, but I feel like in a season like this, it's even more the way it's going to work.
Talk a little bit about the proposed, well, I shouldn't really say proposed because it is confirmed, but only a 4-game schedule, if I saw that correctly, for the two teams, including today's matchup, although this won't count towards the official West Catholic Athletic League standings. But just the start that the Crusaders were looking for here at home.
Special teams again, though, here, right? So this is another situation where you're involved with special teams. So watch this. I feel like this is going to be a big part. It's always a challenge in high school, right? Because the limited amount of time and the different type of people that are out there in terms of level of quality of play on special teams. But I think in this shortened situation, you're going to have even more problems. So watch that, pay attention to that. And here, this could be a positive for Riordan in terms of the kick. That was a good little pooch kick.
Jack McNulty handling the kickoff duties with Trey Aquino holding, and it was returned by one of the upmen there for Sacred Heart Cathedral. That was number 11, Bruce Upareza. So it'll be first down and 10, Fighting Irish here, trailing by 7 early on.
Very significant series for the Irish here early on. As they're down in the game, they had a 4th down and short. They went for it. They went backward. And then Riordan capitalized with the good field position, went 40 yards for the touchdown. And now the Irish are going to have to get something going to kind of push the momentum back on their side.
Dowling with 2 receivers each side, dumps this one off.
That might be a lateral.
It sure looked like it from here. And heads up play there by number 6, Jerry Mixon. Trying to reel it in, deflected the ball kind of away from his body, so it would make it more difficult for the Crusaders to try and recover the bouncing ball.
The Irish might have cut a big break there. The ball kind of squirted out almost simultaneously with the official blowing the whistle. You know, you want to protect the guy jumping on the ball there, but that could have been considered a quick whistle, and it could have led to a fumble had they not, that was recovered by Riordan had they not blown the whistle dead.
It's a loss of 10 on the play. It's a 2nd down and 20 with 3:25 to go here in the first quarter. The Crusaders leading by 7. Dowling looking right side. Steps up in the pocket, throws downfield, has an open man, and that's a tremendous catch.
Excellent catch.
That's Tyrese Ivey, and he had some words after for his defender there, but 2 excellent catches, 1 for each team in this game so far.
Yeah, that was an amazing catch, too. That could have been an interception. Instead, it goes for a big gainer. And you see the individual talents of Dowling. You see the individual talents of the receivers, allowing the teams to kind of overcome maybe some deficiencies in other areas. Again, you're not getting a chance to do your full-fledged fall camp and all the things you would normally do to get ready for a season. This is totally different. You're doing this on the fly, a lot of this stuff, and so you need your best players to rise up.
We saw Tyrese Ivey, who just made the catch, limp off after the play. We saw that briefly on the program. A timeout is called, though, in the meantime. Let's take a break here. All action in the first quarter from Maya Family Field. Riordan 7, Sacred Heart Cathedral 0. Back with more in a moment.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
We are back at Maya Family Field here on the campus of Archbishop Riordan in San Francisco. Big completion from Dowling to Ivy, and it's a 1st and 10 for Sacred Heart Cathedral. They hand off to the running back, that's number 6, Jerry Mixon, and he's just right around midfield.
Solid run on 1st down, and the Irish, you know, they want to throw it, they want to spread it out, they want Dowling to kind of be the trigger man of everything, but they're going to need to line up. It's some base stuff and be able to run the ball effectively, and they were able to do it there on 1st down.
Gain of 5, sets up a 2nd down and 5 from midfield. Quick first quarter, 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining. Dowling turns and hands off to the running back, and nowhere to go. That maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage as he hands off to Regans for a minimal gain at most.
Samuel Casey again involved on the stop, helping out that defensive line. And like I said before, the Riordan defensive line, a lot of folks don't know a ton about them, in part because we haven't played in seemingly forever, but they are a talented group. They've got depth, they've got size, they've got athleticism. They kind of check all the boxes. And so far, they've shown up in this opening game.
Ivy's back in the game. He's a receiver to the top of the formation. Dowlin's looking his way, fires, and finds a receiver that's complete. That's to Dara Keene, the senior. He makes his first catch of the day. That moves the chains.
Good pattern, good throw, good timing, good completion.
I'm impressed so far, considering you think about the best part of a 16-month layoff, that both teams look pretty sharp here in the opening quarter.
I mean, all things considered, this is incredibly sharp football. I mean, the reality is again, this is not the normal lead-up by any means to a season. They weren't even sure if they were going to play not that long ago.
I mean, talking a matter of weeks here for that. 1st and 10, Fighting Irish. Dowling sends a man in motion. And ball comes out right into the hands of a Riordan player, and he's going to take it to the house. No one even close. 20-10, 5 touchdown as a flag on the play.
Flag down. The flag's probably for excessive celebration from where it came. I could be wrong. Somebody might have ran on the field. I don't know. Who knows?
Ray John Jackson was the player that lost the ball, recovered and returned by Riordan. And let's wait for referee Mac Parfit's decision here. Sideline warning against Riordan. Touchdown is given.
Yeah, based on where the flag came in at and how it happened, it makes sense. But let's face it, I mean, that was a ready-made touchdown. Everybody knew it. It was like the ball just popped out, fell into the arms of the right guy, and away we go.
And I believe, without seeing the replay, that was Jackson who returned it back for the score for the Crusaders.
Yeah, if you were going to say there's going to be a fumble and somebody from Riordan's going to get it with their shoulders squared up and nobody really in front of them, who would you want to have it? Well, 6 is the guy.
Aiden Jackson returns the fumble from Ray John Jackson for the score, and in the blink of an eye, the Crusaders are potentially going to be up 2 scores. The snap is good, the hold is good, the kick is off the upright. Well, it's the only thing that's gone wrong for the Crusaders so far this afternoon, but they lead here at home 13-0 with a minute to go in the first. Talk us through this, Bob.
The replay here, I mean, it's just a
it's punched out.
Jet sweep got punched out, and again, goes right to the guy you want. And he ran right down that sideline for the punt return for a touchdown last time we played here. It looked a lot like that. He had a little convoy, though. That time, really, nobody needed to do much of anything. He just ran unabated to the end zone, and that might be the easiest touchdown of his whole life. A lot easier than the first one he got on the catch on the good throw from A.Z. Ledbetter.
We'll have to take another look at that just to confirm the Crusader player that was able to punch the ball out of Jackson.
Pretty sure it was Atu Kefu.
Okay.
Based on his reaction that continues on the sideline right now.
We'll take a look at that here in a moment. Glad you're watching this wherever you are. Let's take a look at this one more time. So here's the handoff to Jackson. The exchange is good. He's got it tucked in his left arm, but just doesn't expect Kefu to come up and just reach around and punch the ball out, and that is a fumble by a mile.
And then right to the correct person that you want to have the ball. And Joe Kopp, the new defensive coordinator for Riordan, this is his first year. Mark Modeste, the head coach, previously had handled the defensive play calling duties, and now he's on the offensive side. So Joe Kopp in his first year, pretty good start for him in terms of coordinating the defense here for the Crusaders.
Dream start with the exception of the missed extra point. It's 13-0 Crusaders here at home. The kickoff is going to go out of bounds. So that'll add 10 yards to where they spot the ball. So glad you're with us, watching wherever you are in the Bay Area, the state, or around the country. And one such person is a good friend of high school sports here in the state of California, Michael K. Smith, tuning in from Tampa, Florida. Hope you are well. Glad you're here on the broadcast. Stephen Davies and Bob Green with you. And I could get used to football in the spring, too. How about you?
Yeah, I don't mind football in the spring. I mean, full disclosure, and the guys are going to give me a hard time about this. I'm a baseball guy, so this is baseball time of year for me, but I'm willing to do some football, too. I definitely enjoy football. I'm not going to lie, though. I don't mind football in the spring, but I definitely prefer football in the fall.
There is something about the light diminishing quickly and with the clocks going back and everything, but it's a beautiful day here, like we said,
but usually the weather is the best here in the fall.
Right, that's a good point.
But we got a very fall-like San Francisco day in terms of the quality of the weather in the afternoon. I mean, this is pretty much incredible. I mean, 3-4 days ago, we were thinking, man, it's going to be like old school Candlestick Park out here. and instead, we get this.
Low 60s here in the City by the Bay. A little bit of a breeze. You can't really notice it up here in the press box, but first time I've had a chance to be out here at the new facility, and it really is spectacular. You got the baseball diamond across the way there, so even from the commentary position here, you get a pretty good look at the calling balls and strikes from over here, albeit at a little bit of a distance.
I have done a baseball game from right where we are, and it's not the greatest thing to ever do, and you have a hard time following when there's changes in terms of substitutions, things like that. But it can be done, and it's not a bad place to watch a game at all. It's warmer back here during a baseball game than it is over there.
So Dowling in the offense then already staring at the 13-point deficit, looking to make something happen here. It's 1st and 10 following the 10 yards tacked on for the kickoff going out of bounds. Dowling here with 3 receivers, this time to the near side. You look to the right side of the formation. Hit as he throws, it's intercepted, and the big man's going to take it to the house now.
Oh, my goodness.
Cafu, pick 6. And if he wasn't fired up before, now he might start spurting fire out of the helmet or something like that. Oh, wow.
And, you know, he's not the first guy you'd think of in terms of scoring a defensive touchdown on the surface. But, again, like I mentioned before, he's not just big, he's really agile. And you could tell he's a pretty beloved figure on this team. He's fired up, the team's fired up, and for good reason. What a first quarter.
Jack McNulty's on to attempt his 3rd extra point. He's 1 of 2 so far. Hit the upright on his previous attempt. 52 seconds, all Crusaders here. High snap, well fielded, kick is up, and it is good. And, well, if you're a Crusaders fan and you turned away for a couple minutes, you came back and looked at the score, and it's 20-0. That is the correct score. 2 defensive touchdowns here for the Crusaders in as many minutes.
Of course, there's a ton of football left, so I think one key for Riordan will be to just keep locked in and understand that the Irish are plenty capable of getting back in this game, and they're going to have ample time to do so. But you'll take a 20-0 lead in the first quarter.
Talking to Coach McLaughlin during the week, and I think he still has nightmares about what happened here back in November 2019, especially having played high school ball here
This
too.
has an incredibly similar feel to that. It really does. Both teams kind of had opportunities early in that game. Riordan went down and scored, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it kind of got blown open, and that's sort of what happened here. So, but again, there's still basically 3 quarters left, a little bit more than 3 quarters left. So a lot of football to be played, and we know the Irish are very capable. So no reason to think that they can't get back into this one. But again, considering what happened last time they played here, this has to feel, at least for those who were here and part of the team, this has to feel like a bit of deja vu.
Deja vu all over again. In the meantime, Cafu has found time to pose for a couple photos and a shout out to the crowd, and we might have to have Kino come over here and hold once again. Breeze blowing from west-east here, looking at the flags on the goalposts.
Well, I referenced the candlestick aspect. I mean, that's very candlestick. That was a very common thing during football games at Candlestick Park, right? Somebody having to hold for the kickoff.
So Kino once again will hold for McNulty, a right-footed boot. Gets underneath this one. It's another short kick, but this will stay in play. It's returnable for Sacred Heart Cathedral. Now they've got an opportunity across midfield, and a great return there by number 11. That's Bruce Uparesa. So perhaps now Sacred Heart Cathedral will have a chance to reduce the arrears here as they trail by 20.
Special teams. It's always a big part that goes kind of unnoticed often in high school. But like I said, this situation, I think it's magnified, and special teams are a good way for the Irish to get back in this one. They get some momentum on their side right away with a nice kickoff return.
So the freshman game, 22-0 victory for the Fighting Irish. Aiden McGrath, the quarterback, 48-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Padilla. He also had a 6-yard touchdown run. Beckett Flanagan, a 1-yard touchdown run as they hand off on first down. And the running back with a decent gain. He's going to be about 8 yards or so, and that was Regan's on the carry. And just to finish my thought there real quick, Enzo Quartaroli, 2 two-point conversions, and perhaps the key play in that game, an interception of the Riordan quarterback to preserve the shutout, a 22-0 victory for the freshman squads. Now the varsity team in a big hole here. The final play of the first quarter coming up here as the clock ticks down towards 0. Dowling will receive a to each side. Oh, wanted to hand off. The running back wasn't there. Has to make something happen himself. Has the first down. Did he lose the ball?
I think they got it back, though.
A little bit of pushing and shoving. Now a flag flies at the end of the play. And, well, Dowling turned to hand off to Regans, and Regans had stepped to his left. And
there's a flag down, too.
Yeah, I think that was the pushing and shoving element at the end of the play. Here's referee Mac Parfit. Personal foul against the defense, so goes against the Crusaders. So the early sideline warning and now personal foul. And let's take a look at the replay here of Dowling. So we didn't really see that. Maybe Dowling got hit after he fumbled the ball and was dragged to the ground, but there was definitely...
Dowling lost it when he was up, and it might have actually been Dowling. I couldn't tell for sure that actually got back on it. It never really was in jeopardy to go anywhere but back to the Irish. But now we'll go to the other side of the field to restart play after the quarter break here.
So we'll take a quick commercial break. The Crusaders in command here at home, leading 20-0. Back with more in a moment.
All right, now you're just like Daddy, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training.
Go, Daddy.
Or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity, part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
We are back live from Maya Family Field here on the campus of Archbishop Riordan in San Francisco, and the Crusaders, a very, very impressive start indeed. A fabulous throw from Ledbetter for the touchdown, and then 2 return fumbles for touchdowns has given the Crusaders a 20-0 lead. But a personal foul, which we will see here on a replay momentarily against the Crusaders, has given the Fighting Irish here an excellent chance to get some points on the board. Dowling fakes the handoff, keeps it himself, and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Again, like I said, the Irish have plenty of time to get back in this one, and they're primed to score. But they, you would imagine, are going to want to come away with 7 here. They don't want to settle for a field goal here. So looks like we're watching the replay, and they're slowing it down. There you see the ball.
This is the personal foul, and then you see in the background that Dowling gets spun around and thrown down. That's what they call the personal foul on. In the meantime, Regans gets the carry and maybe got a couple yards, but it's now going to be 3rd down. They need to get to the 2 or to the 1 for a first down.
They can get a first down, and this may very well be 4-down territory for them.
Yeah.
Like I said, settling for 3 when you're down 20, I mean, albeit in the second quarter, it's probably not going to work. They're probably going to want to get this back to a 2-score game and not just settle for the 3. So I think that they're going to be aggressive here. Now, officials timeout.
One of the linemen for the Fighting Irish was having a little trouble with the shoelace, it looked like. That was number 75, Jordan Sola Fafatu. Anyway, he's all set to go, and so are the Fighting Irish. 3rd down and 5 from the 6. If they can get to the 1, they'll get a fresh set of downs. But as Bob said, perhaps 4-down territory here for Regans, who spins free of the initial tackle, but then gets swallowed up as he was met by number 55, Joe Harbert.
Joe Harbert, whose dad is next door on the PA. Big Joe, one of the talented linemen for Riordan. second-year varsity player as a junior now.
So it brings up a 4th down. The Fighting Irish trailing by 20.
Do you throw a fade here? They haven't done it yet. They've tried different runs in these situations and haven't really gotten much out of it.
So here's Dowling, looks right, looks across his middle, passes, tipped and intercepted in the end zone. Zion Best came away with it. And the afternoon goes from bad to worse for Kean Dowling.
You see the fans there with the masks having a good time. The last time we played a game here, this place was completely packed with everybody. Seemed like half the city came here, including a bunch of alumni from both sides. This is a little bit different feel for a variety of reasons, but the excitement level is still high, especially on the side of the purple and gold right now.
Well, the Crusaders very much in the driver's seat here, but the best chance by far for the day for the Fighting Irish. And Dowling's pass, well, he was under a lot of pressure, had to get rid of it. Through a wobbly spiral, was tipped and then into the arms of Best.
And now Riordan's in a spot where they can put a drive together, and the Irish can be in real trouble because another score not only obviously extends the lead for Riordan, but also chews on that clock and gets us closer to halftime with a very lopsided situation. So this becomes, in terms of the competitiveness of this game, in my view, a very significant drive. The Irish had a chance there to get back into things a little bit, and it was foiled. And now Riordan has a chance to really put the clamps on him in terms of any sort of real comeback attempt or chance.
So Ledbetter goes on to send here in 1st and 10 for the Crusaders. Rolls out right. Tries to turn the corner, which he does. Has to unload it and throws low and incomplete. Looking for his receiver in the vicinity. Zachary Jones, the sophomore, was over there. He's wearing number 3 for Riordan.
Really nice job by the Irish defense. You would assume there with Mark Modest kind of leading the play calling and the nature of the situation, you'd expect a run, so it's easy to bite on something like that, and they really held their water, did their job, and didn't let that materialize, and now it's 2nd and 10, and the clock is stopped. So, again, I know it's odd to bring up the clock, but when you've got a score this lopsided, I think it begins to matter earlier rather than later.
And certainly before, it's not that often you get to discuss that before even halftime. It is worth noting, too, the last time these two teams met, it was a running clock for the Crusaders in the 4th quarter of play. Will that happen here again today? We'll just have to see, but the Crusaders very much in the driver's seat, and flag and a delay a game against the offense.
So one thing that has not been a positive for Riordan, there's been positives all over the place, but the one thing that has not been a positive is they have not gotten the play and gotten to the line of scrimmage in a timely manner. They've had to burn timeouts. They've had to kind of stand around. Now they're getting penalized. That's been an issue, and maybe that is something that is a problem because you're inputting a new offense and doing it in a very abbreviated time span and now playing in a very odd time of the year.
That's something that you can only really, work on when you have the possibilities of having a full game season.
Sure.
And the abbreviated schedule, as we mentioned, with just the 4 games being played here in the spring. Ledbetter hands off to the running back who has pace there across the right side. Just about maybe gains a yard or so, as that was Faison Ruth.
John Murphy was on the tackle there. Good tackle. Faison is not an easy guy to bring to the ground, and he did it by himself there. Good job by Murphy.
Second time we've called Murphy's name in this one so far, and in a game of precious few highlights so far for the Fighting Irish. He's certainly a bright spot for Sacred Heart Cathedral. So it'll be a 3rd down and 10 with just over 9 minutes remaining in the first half of play. The Crusaders comfortably in the lead here. Ledbetter knife formation sends his receiver in motion from right to left. A little trickery here from the Crusaders. A little open field to work with here in front. Stutter step move there from Aiden Jackson before he's pushed out of bounds. And again, some pushing and shoving afterwards. And judging by the competitive nature of these two teams, there's definitely no love lost between these two despite the 16-month layoff.
Well, part of it's just teenage boys playing hard and being aggressive. And I would say this. I would say you get into a game and there's a lot of emotion in a game. And even if you go into a game with a lot of respect and admiration for your opponent. Sometimes things happen in the game and you just kind of get fired up, and right there it may just be a simple matter of, hey, I'm out here competing, you're out here competing. I may be a little frustrated by what's going on in the game. I make a play and I get a little excited about it. Probably much ado about nothing, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely been that element in this game, but it doesn't linger too much, which is a good thing.
Aiden Jackson, after that play, took a couple hits, as we saw on the replay there. He's over the sideline here to get checked on. It's a punting situation here in the meantime.
Very good punt.
Excellent punt over the head of the returner, who perhaps didn't see it, and that's going to roll all the way down to the 13-yard line. Well, when it rains, it pours for the Fighting Irish, and the kick of the day that we've seen so far is pinned Sacred Heart Cathedral well inside their own half of the field here with 8:30 to go, and the Crusaders up by 20.
Excellent punt, and the returner got kind of caught in between, and it was like an outfielder who has a line drive that's going over his head, and he got caught and said, I got to let this one fly, and then the positive Riordan bounce and roll, and now the Irish are pinned back.
So 1st and 10, Fighting Irish, 8:30 remaining, first half of play. So they've had 2 fumbles already returned, 4 touchdowns. They threw an interception in the end zone on the previous drive. Now for Kean Dowling in the offense, perhaps time to get back to basics here.
It is worth noting with the ball sitting right there on the edge of the infield. That's turf. It's not any sort of other substance, so it's not going to impact play at all. It just is made to look like baseball dirt. Good strong run there by Dowling.
Don't worry, we're not playing at the Oakland Coliseum.
No. I've actually had people ask me that, though.
If it's real dirt?
Well, just because it's a different color.
Sure.
You know, it plays tricks with your mind. But, yeah, it's the same material as the green stuff and white stuff with the numbers that you see.
And I was out there early, so I can vouch for Bob's description. He is 100% correct. A gain of 5 on the, or gain of 6, excuse me, on the previous play. 2nd down and 4 for the Fighting Irish.
Fans are into it.
Yeah, the fans are very into it, and as you can imagine, they've been starved of
Oh,
live sports.
He's got somebody.
Dowling.
He threw it late, and it's still going to work.
Dowling hurls it downfield. It was bobbled a couple times, but finally making the grab, and an excellent one at that is Ivy, the man he targeted back in the first quarter on that play on 3rd down. And so Ivy makes his 2nd catch, and that takes some of the pressure off this Fighting Irish offense as they have spotted the ball on the 45-yard line. So Sacred Heart Cathedral making some moves.
Nice play by Ivy. Nice adjustment there, and he stayed with it. Oftentimes in those situations, you win the position battle and you go up to get it, and then it gets knocked away. He held on.
Ryder Brooks is into the game, sophomore receiver. He's at the top of the formation here as they give to Regans. And Regans across midfield. He has another 1st down.
Best run of the day for him.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it, like I mentioned before, I'll probably bring it up again, the top players really need to shine to help these teams because you haven't had a lot of time to coach up everybody, and we've seen that the best players from Riordan flex their muscle, and now the Irish are doing the same.
And sticking with the 4-receiver set, Coach McLaughlin. Back-to-back 1st downs. Dump this off quickly. And try to cut one way and then come back the other, but it's snuffed out. Excellent defensive play there made by number 8, and that's Chris Murray, the junior.
Chris Murray, very talented young man, capable young man, very decent, kind young man as well. Good student. Plays hard. He's excited.
Jerry.
That's the 2nd time that the Irish have run that play. The first time they didn't complete it. It went for a backward lateral. They lost, and they lost something there too. So that has not been an effective play for them so far.
Mixon on the play is replaced by Regans now as Dowling drops back under pressure, unloads, and that pass is incomplete. It was thrown low for his intended target there as he was looking for Dara Keene, but Keene couldn't hold on.
Samuel Casey, who's having a very nice game today, the senior, came up and made sure that was not a completion.
So on that 1st down play for Mixon, he lost 6 yards, excuse me. It's 3rd down and 16 here as we approach the midpoint of the 2nd quarter of play. And this is a possession now. If you're Sacred Heart Cathedral, you got to come away with some points. Trailing by 20, 3 receivers near side. Dowling reels in the high snap with one hand. Dowling breaks to the outside. Oh, gets tripped up. Nice defensive play there made by Samuel Casey. He is everywhere so far today, Bob.
Samuel Casey coming up. It looked like Atu Kefu was going to have to track him down after Casey kind of got something taken out of him, but instead Casey got him to the ground, and that's significant because, again, it's not the situation where you're in a 4th and long. You're probably going to just decide to punt it. If you get a good chunk of yards there with where they are in the field and in terms of the situation with the score, you probably go for it, but not now.
So that play snuffs out any point scoring opportunity for the Fighting Irish on this possession. It's a high snap here for Dara Keene.
Oh, they fake it.
Yeah, they do.
And he's got something maybe.
Keene breaks
Not
one
gonna
tackle
work.
and gets forced out of bounds right around the 43. He was about best part of 10 yards shy of the first down marker anyway. You have to wonder there for a second, because of the high snap, did it not give Keene really any other option but to take off and run?
You wonder, oftentimes it's one of those things where you call a fake punt if this, but the if doesn't include if there's a really, kind of high floaty snap. And that might have been a situation where he saw something and he liked it pre-snap, but the snap kind of messed up the timing of everything and made it that much harder. And the other issue is, and again, we see it in a play like that, Atu Kefu's involved in the play, and in a normal situation, you just run away from the defensive lineman, but he's not the type of guy you can do that with.
1st and 10, Crusaders then with 5:29 to go in the first half of play. AZ Ledbetter goes under center, turns and hands off to his running back, who gains about 3 or so. That was Ruth on the carry.
Faison was effective in that opening drive a little bit, but he hasn't done much since then. So the Irish have done a good job of that. I mean, the reality is this game has been relatively close in a lot of ways in terms of just playing football, but the 2 defensive touchdowns kind of just change everything. And remember, the one offensive touchdown came when Riordan got the short field, and we're set up after holding them on that 4th down.
Right. Good point. And you don't need me to tell you the fans are fired up for this one right in front of the commentary position here. It's 2nd down and 7.
That's a busted play.
And Ledbetter still does well to make something happen. The ball came out at the end of the play. Sacred Heart Cathedral think that they have it. And
it looks like they do.
I think they do.
They do.
Referee Parfitt has signaled 1st down, Sacred Heart Cathedral. So
big play by the Irish, and they've got time here to put something together, and that's significant. Again, a score by Riordan there, you eat up a couple more minutes, and the Irish are in big time trouble, and now they've got a chance to put something on the board here, and you see the busted play. Everything kind of just didn't materialize. Then AZ looked like he was going to get something going. Turnovers have been an issue, fumbles, different things like that, and it makes sense. This stage of a season that is a spring season, it makes sense you're going to see that.
Regans gets the call here on 1st down. He gets about 5, and just to say, looking at that replay, would you say it's safe to say that Ledbetter just perhaps a little bit careless there with the handling of the ball?
Yeah, and I think part of that comes from the fact that you haven't been hit in a real game, right? You don't even know it sometimes when you're practicing, and it's not as live as a game is, where, hey, if that was a game situation against an opponent, I probably would have fumbled. And you don't realize sometimes how much those practice habits can then bleed over, because you just can't replicate the energy of this.
Dowling's pass is complete to the outside, and that's going to be close to a 1st down, as making the catch there was Uparesa, his first reception of the afternoon. Brings up a 3rd down and about 2 yards or so to go here for a fresh set of downs.
Very significant situation here. You got a 3rd and short. You're under 4 minutes to go. You'd love if you're the Irish to score a touchdown, score as close to the end of the half as possible, and then you're in a situation where you're going to have a chance to put something together in the second half, and it's a football game at that point if you can get that.
Under 4 minutes remaining in the first half of play. 3rd and short then for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Riordan didn't have 11 on the field, but then the Irish didn't snap it, so they got time to kind of regroup. Good run, and that there wasn't a ton there. It looked like it was going to go for naught. Instead, it goes for a 1st down. Nice run there.
Jerry Mixon with just enough there to move the chains for the Fighting Irish. And they have the Fighting Irish, with the amount of clock remaining, just over 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go, have a chance to really run the clock down here in the first half. And also, and this has been the key point, try and put some points on the board as well.
And we don't have the numbers here in front of us, but because of the 2 defensive touchdowns by the Crusaders, the Irish have had the ball more.
Sure.
So I wonder if that's going to impact the play here in the end of the first half.
Dowling was looking left the whole time. Now unloads, throws downfield, finds Ivy, makes the catch.
Incomplete. He caught it, but he wasn't in bounds. I think he caught it. I guess we'll check it out.
Yeah.
A little presumptuous on my part.
Definitely a little tough to see from our vantage point here, but he's the go-to man is Tyrese Ivy, and although he was able to make the catch, as you said, didn't look like he had a foot in bounds.
He wasn't upset, though, so a lot of times you can tell if the receiver thought he had a shot at being in bounds there, they'll emote something. He did not.
So Ryder Brooks in the game. He's the receiver to the bottom of the formation. They look to the right side. Finds a receiver. It is caught. That is Uparesa, his second grab, and he makes something out of nothing. That's close to a first down before he's finally dragged down there by number 41, Frank Zapata.
Great effort. Stayed with it, and then got some extra help from a teammate with a block there. And again, that would have been a situation where you've got a 3rd and long, and instead it's 3rd and 1.
It was Dara Keene there who threw the block there to allow Uparesa to get a little additional yardage on the play. We got an injured player down for Riordan in the meantime. That's Jared Parangan Chu, and he's quickly back up on his feet. Looks like he's having a little trouble putting weight down on that right foot, so he's going to be helped off here by the Riordan training staff. So we certainly hope to see him back out on the field in due course. In the meantime, 3:08 to go. First half of play, 3rd down and about a yard to go here for the Fighting Irish. And definitely not their first foray into the Crusaders half of the field today, but their best scoring opportunity was an interception in the end zone by Kean Dowling to Zion Best. So Fighting Irish still looking for their first points of the day. Dowling steps up, eludes one tackle, eludes the second. Oh, and takes a big shot there. And that's going to be a flag, because I think there was a helmet-to-helmet contact there on the quarterback. So let's see. And Kefu was the last player in there to finally bring Dowling to the ground. Certainly from up here, that looked to be the case.
Yeah, he went up high. Don't know for sure, obviously, but in this day and age, they're going to call it if there's any doubt at all. And certainly that was a big hit. Hopefully the young man's okay. Dowling, I think, is. Let's see.
So that will be a personal foul, the 15-yard variety.
One thing that's very difficult for a lot of folks is the game has changed so much in such a short period of time. A lot of folks who played a bunch of football, right, they remember a football that they played not too long ago that was so different than this, and they get frustrated. But the reality is, in this day and age, you get penalized for things like that, things that not that long ago, wouldn't have even been a thought to throw a flag.
We quite clearly saw from the replay, Caffrey went high, and officials give him no choice but to issue the personal foul penalty. It gives a fresh set of downs to the Fighting Irish here. 1st and 10 from the Crusaders 16 with 2:34 to go in the first half of play. On the end around, it's to Ivy. Ivy charges forward across the 10-yard line, met by a couple of Riordan defenders, and in among them was number 6, Aiden Jackson.
The Irish are moving the ball. Granted, they've been helped out by Riordan a little bit with the penalties, but they're moving the ball. They're making things happen. They've got to finish a drive, and if they do, like I said, we've got a ball game. Our clock's not moving right now. I'm checking the clock on the Mayer Family Field scoreboard. We're down to 2 minutes.
With under 2 minutes now, clock ticking here. 2nd down and 2 from the 9-yard line. Regans is the running back here for Dowling as he goes from left to right. Dowling pressured. Dowling still trying to find something, trying to make something happen, is unable to do so, and he is dragged back for a big loss.
And there we see it again, a situation where a big negative play negates some positive stuff, and now all of a sudden you're 3rd down and long instead of 3rd down and very manageable in a situation where you're going in to try to score.
And a timeout was called by Sacred Heart Cathedral. So with 1:33 to go and a 3rd down and 2 coming up, we will step away. Back with more in a moment.
The best food deserves the best salsas. I can assist you, for I am El Salsa Recommender. Carnitas Burrito, the Volcan. Steak and prawns, Oaxaca. Tacos al pastor, Molcajete. Salsa is not about the heat, it's about the flavor. My work here is done.
Who is that? I don't know.
Pancho Villa Taqueria. I recommend it.
Welcome back to Mayo Family Field here on the campus of Archbishop Riordan in the City by the Bay. Stephen Davies and Bob Green, pleased to be with you wherever you are watching us around the state or indeed around the nation. A special shout out and welcome to all the family and friends watching this game, the players who weren't able to join us here in person today, but that day is not far away. We'll be able to welcome you all back here to watch high school football. In the meantime, glad you were with us here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. All fireworks, all razzmatazz in the first quarter. Things have simmered down a little bit here, but the Fighting Irish, not for the first time today, have been inside the red zone. They were unable to convert the first time with the interception in the end zone of Kean Dowling, but now at the second time of asking, in minute 33, they have a chance to get on the score sheet here. Dowling looks across the middle. What a throw. Great catch. And a touchdown for Sacred Heart Cathedral. And making the catch was Uparesa, his third grab of the day and his first touchdown.
Fitting that he catches the touchdown because he was excellent making plays on that drive. And we've got a ball game.
Sacred Heart will receive the ball to begin the second half of play. We were talking about it a little bit there while we were in commercials that, you know, with Sacred Heart Cathedral checked off the boxes here of what they hope to accomplish on that drive, take some time off the clock and put points on the board. The left-footed kick was up and good, but a flag was thrown before the play. It was Dara Keane there who was kicking the extra point for the Fighting Irish. And appropriately named, too, I may add. So the penalties declined.
The place kicker there, he declined it. He said, I don't need that. I like it just from here. I'm good to go.
Keen left-footed boots. Second attempt is up, and it is good. So the Fighting Irish have trimmed the Crusaders' margin here. It's 20-7. The Crusaders lead. Here's a look at the replay of the touchdown. And it's the extra effort here by Uparesa, just breaking the tackle, shoving the man away. And he is in for the first touchdown of the day for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Like I mentioned, a lot of football left to be played here. And the Irish have played well, let's face it. I mean, Riordan and Sacred Heart Cathedral have played a fairly even game in some ways. The Sacred Heart Cathedral has played better in moments. The problem for them, of course, the two turnovers that led to defensive touchdowns by the Crusaders, and that's really the difference in the game. But now they're kind of set up here. You can hold Riordan, get the ball to start the second half, and you've got a little bit of that momentum going for you, and you don't feel like you're getting blown out anymore. Everything's kind of changed.
I mean, especially after that first quarter, too. I mean, everything that could have gone wrong for the Fighting Irish did. And all of the interception in the end zone didn't come until the second quarter. Definitely the Fighting Irish have settled down a little bit and made their way into this game.
So now if you're Riordan, how do you approach this? Are you ultra aggressive? Do you try to get points on the board? Or do you just say, hey, we're going to run some base stuff? If something pops, that's great, but otherwise we'll take our 13-point lead into halftime.
And Keane, perhaps cognizant of that, will go with the squib kick that the Crusaders have a little bit tough time to handle, but they eventually down it at their own 20-yard line. So, minute 25, no timeouts, and a 13-point lead for the hosts as on Ledbetter and the offense come back out onto the field for what you would think would be the final time here in the first half of play.
Very significant that you don't turn it over here. And that's something to watch in every football game, certainly every high school game. But I think, again, in a season like this, you're going to see more mistakes. We've seen them today. Kids are playing hard, but been fumbles. There's been some issues. Riordan's had some penalties too.
Cathedral over here on the sideline. In the meantime, Ledbetter is flushed out, finds Ruth in the flat. Ruth loses his footing, and that's not the first time we've said that today as he tried to make a cut at the 25-yard line.
Yeah, he's slipped twice cutting, going in both directions now. Cut going the other way and in the first quarter, and then made a cut here and stumbled.
Cafu sitting right in front of our commentary position here. Helmet on, but chin strap up above the forehead, so we'd expect his first half here is done for now. We'll keep an eye on him for the second period of play. So gain of 8 on the play, or gain of 7, excuse me, second down and 3, with the ball spun out on the 27-yard line. Knife formation for Ledbetter, who's under center. Ledbetter with time, throws, steps into it, and overthrew his receiver, and probably a little fortunate to get away with an interception there. Devel Rios was in coverage, the junior outside linebacker dropping back there with a chance to make the play.
Leo Marangi, the intended receiver, and now Riordan may very well just run it here. I don't know the timeout situation.
They have no timeouts, 31 seconds. And the Fighting Irish have a timeout. There was a flag on the play, so hold on just a minute here.
Legal man downfield.
Penalties declined, and it was legal man downfield. Remains third down.
And there's kind of, the early season spring football, it's just a basic play fake, and you get somebody illegally downfield kind of maybe losing their bearings a little bit. Because officials are going to be, they're not going to look for something like that. It has to be pretty blatant, you would imagine.
Sure. 31 seconds, third down and 3. Riordan. That's going to be a first down for Faison Ruth. Ball came out at the end of the play. No signal from the official yet. Fighting Irish think they have it. They do. And Faison Ruth cannot believe it. He is incensed as he pulls at the chin strap of the helmet, and he wants some answers, and he is not a happy camper there, Bob.
Well, watching it on the screen, you kind of just assumed that the ball came out late, and so he was down, but perhaps he rolled on top of someone, and so he wasn't down. That's a huge moment. I talked about the turnover situation. It happened, and now if you're the Irish, you've got a shot to put some points on the board here with 20 seconds to go. And you mentioned one timeout as well.
Faison Ruth just was looking for someone to, well, he was not happy. Let's just put it that way. In the meantime, though, the Fighting Irish, a gift here from the Crusaders. Can they capitalize in the final 20 seconds of the first half? Dowling goes one way, another, holds it for the end zone, open, makes a catch! Touchdown, Sacred Heart Cathedral! And it's that man, Tyrese Ivey, who makes the catch.
And that's the concern. The Irish have playmakers. And Ivey made a big-time play. Dowling hung in there and made a great throw to the back of the end zone. And we really have a football game now.
And Coach McLaughlin is fired up. He came about 10 yards out onto the field, jumping up and down. Dara Keene's going to attempt the extra point here with Aiden Shea to hold. And the Fighting Irish make the Crusaders pay. Stunning throw from Dowling to find Ivey in the back of the end zone. Keene's extra point is low, but it is up and good, and we indeed have a ball game after a first quarter that was 100% in favor of the Crusaders. The Fighting Irish have clawed their way back into this game as we take a look at the replay here in just a moment.
This is the replay of the fumble. And
oh man, he looked like he was down. We could see that one more time in slow motion, but man, his knee looked to be on the ground. And look at Dowling there, navigating his way through traffic there, stepping up, throwing on the front foot, and finding Ivey in the end zone.
I wouldn't mind slowing that down again. Again, full disclosure, I'm the Riordan athletic director. I'm one of the athletic directors, but that looked like a pretty obvious non-fumble. That looked like he was down. Maybe it was coming out as he rolled over, and so the official had a better view. They didn't slow it all the way down there in the replay, but it looked like he hit the ground and then rolled over, and then the ball came out.
Hey, that's always what I say. The official always has a better look than we do, right? But, you could tell by the way Ruth's body language, they're yanking the chin strap off and looking for anyone that would listen to him plead his case. But certainly his concerns were warranted based on the replay that we just saw.
Yeah, looking at that, yeah.
Oh, my goodness me, this is recovered by Sacred Heart Cathedral. How this game has swung in terms of momentum. It's clearly back now with Sacred Heart Cathedral. And, well, it was one mistake after another. The Fighting Irish say they have it. And they do.
Special teams playing a huge role. So now the Irish, they can throw this one in the end zone. They just did it.
And why not do it again?
Yep.
You've got 7 seconds. You've got at least one, perhaps 2 opportunities at this. And this is going back to the Ruth fumble. And as we look, it's hard to tell there, but I mean, right there, you think with his left shoulder going to the ground, the ball is still under his arm. But
pretty obvious he was down.
Well, hopefully that will be part of the the halftime replay package. In the meantime, improbably, the Irish have a chance here to take the lead before the end of the first half. Dowling steps up, looks for the end zone, for a receiver, makes a catch, touchdown!
There's a flag, though. There is a flag down. We'll see what it's for.
And trying to see who made the catch here. It was Aiden Shea, the receiver, who made the grab.
It's a penalty against Sacred Heart Cathedral. Great effort. And there's no time left, correct?
The time is 0. Second, so the Parfit has signaled it will be second down.
So who would have thought that it would take a penalty and a break for the Crusaders to have them have the lead at halftime?
And that is going to, well, hold on a second. Parfit has signaled second down. Riordan and going off the field.
Well, so it's a Sacred Heart Cathedral penalty. He signaled, he went through his mechanic, he didn't look at the clock.
Oh, God, okay. Well, we need a break here just to collect ourselves from a pulsating 24 minutes of action here at Maya Family Field. What a first half of play. Sacred Heart improbably could have taken the lead on that final play of the first half. Instead, a penalty against them leaves the score 20-14 with the Crusaders leading. Let's go to halftime. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with some highlights from the first half. And our replay guy, unfortunately, has got a lot of work on his hands. But we'll be back with highlights and the second half here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. Riordan 20, Sacred Heart Cathedral 14. Back with more in a moment.
Our work is something to be proud of. We make the products people use, the products that make their lives simpler, the high-tech tools to help defend our country, and the innovations that will shape the future. Some say American industry can't keep up anymore. I say our work is proof that made in the USA still means something. The power professionals of the IBEW, proudly American, proudly union.
I've been coming to Mobius for over a year and it's changed my life. Ever since I started coming here, I've gotten in more shape. I've met great people.
If you're just new and you want to start out, you don't have to find your own way to do it. You get people that are showing you exactly what you need to do, so it gives you a perfect program.
The classes are great. There's high energy. We like to have a great time. They play great music, and we get a workout in super quick, and we can get on with our day.
Our smiles can light up a room. Our work can light up an entire city. We're the men and women of the IBEW, working with a code of excellence that guarantees the job will be done right on time and safely. We're lighting the path to the future. Let us show you just how bright that path is.
I would rather look good than to feel good, and you know who you are.
That's right, Fernando. Looking good is important, and looking good starts with a great haircut from Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. No matter your age or style, the trained barbers at Sheer Design will get you looking good. Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. Ask for Joaquin and tell him you saw this ad on BAOSN.TV.
This is about more than work. It's about growing a community. Every day, across the country, the highly skilled, highly trained members of the IBEW are committed to doing the job right, doing the job safe, and doing the job on time. Because while we might be experts in our field, we're also your friends and neighbors. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
Just like Danny, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training,
Go, Daddy.
or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity, part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
The best food deserves the best salsas. I can assist you, for I am El Salsa Recommender. Carnitas Burrito, the Volcan. Steak and prawns, Oaxaca. Tacos al pastor, Molcajete. Salsa is not about the heat, it's about the flavor. My work here is done.
Who is that? I don't know.
Pancho Villa Taqueria. I recommend it.
Our work is something to be proud of. We make the products people use, the products that make their lives simpler, the high-tech tools to help defend our country, and the innovations that will shape the future. Some say American industry can't keep up anymore. I say our work is proof that made in the USA still means something. The power professionals of the IBEW, proudly American, proudly union.
I've been coming to Mobius for over a year and it's changed my life. Ever since I started coming here, I've gotten in more shape. I've met great people.
If you're just new and you want to start out, you don't have to find your own way to do it. You get people that are showing you exactly what you need to do, so it gives you a perfect program.
The classes are great. There's high energy. We like to have a great time. They play great music and we get a workout in super quick and we can get on with our day.
Our smiles can light up a room. Our work can light up an entire city. We're the men and women of the IBEW, working with a code of excellence that guarantees the job will be done right, on time, and safely. We're lighting the path to the future. Let us show you just how bright that path is.
I would rather look good than to feel good, and you know who you are.
That's right, Fernando. Looking good is important, and looking good starts with a great haircut from Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. No matter your age or style, the trained barbers at Sheer Design will get you looking good. Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. Ask for Joaquin and tell him you saw this ad on BAOSN.TV.
This is about more than work. It's about growing a community. Every day, across the country, the highly skilled, highly trained members of the IBEW are committed to doing the job right, doing the job safe, and doing the job on time. Because while we might be experts in our field, we're also your friends and neighbors. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
Just like Daddy, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training,
Go, Daddy.
or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity, part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
The best food deserves the best salsas. I can assist you, for I am El Salsa Recommender. Carnitas Burrito, the Volcan. Steak and prawns, Oaxaca. Tacos al Pastor, Molcajete. Salsa is not about the heat, it's about the flavor. My work here is done.
Who is that? I don't know.
Pancho Villa Taqueria. I recommend it.
Welcome back to Maya Family Field here on the campus of Archbishop Riordan High School in San Francisco. What a first half we had. Non-stop action from beginning to end, and we needed a couple of minutes here in the booth to gather ourselves. But, man, we have some excellent highlights here of some really outstanding action in the first half play. I'm Stephen Davies, joined by Bob Green. Bob's a busy man. He's got multiple other things to do here, especially at halftime, being the athletic director, and also a bit of luck he'll be back up here shortly. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the first half highlights, as this all started with the long run by Riordan here, as we see Ledbetter scrambling around, making a man miss there, setting up the first down and more as he gets pushed out of bounds over there on the far side. And that leads to the touchdown grab. And what a throw and catch there by Ledbetter to Jackson. And then Sacred Heart Cathedral there as we look at Kean Dowling firing downfield, finding his man, Tyrese Ivey, who would score a touchdown later on in the half. Here's the first fumble, and this is recovered by Aiden Jackson, who takes it to the house. There was a sideline warning penalty issued at the conclusion of this play, but that would put Archbishop Riordan up by 13 as that extra point was missed. Then Dowling hit as he throws. The ball falls into the grateful arms of the awaiting Atu Kafu, and the big man rumbles his way in for the touchdown. And at this point, we were starting to talk about running clock and Sacred Heart Cathedral not being able to get back into this game, and it certainly looked a possibility there as Dowling is picked in the end zone, but slowly but surely, I should say, the Fighting Irish made their way back into this game. Dowling hit as he throws, fires downfield for that man, Tyrese Ivey. What a first half he had. Came up with big catch after big catch as we see him reel that one in. Then Dowling setting his feet, firing across the middle, complete for the touchdown to Uparesa. That put Sacred Heart Cathedral on the board. And then this is the play that it sure looked like it was down from where we were sitting, but they ruled that Faison Ruth had fumbled the ball, and Sacred Heart Cathedral made him pay on the very next play. It's Dowling to Ivy. What a catch there for the touchdown. A well-deserved touchdown for Tyrese Ivy, and that puts the score at 20-14. The Crusaders in the lead, but Sacred Heart Cathedral will receive to begin the second half of play. So we will take another break, and we will be back for the third quarter here from San Francisco with the Riordan Crusaders leading this one 20-14 over the Sacred Heart Cathedral Fighting Irish. Back with the second half right after this.
This is about more than work. It's about growing a community. Every day, across the country, the highly skilled, highly trained members of the IBEW are committed to doing the job right, doing the job safe, and doing the job on time. Because while we might be experts in our field, we're also your friends and neighbors. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
Just like Danny, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training.
Go, Daddy.
Or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity, part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
The best food deserves the best salsas. I can assist you, for I am El Salsa Recommender. Carnitas Burrito, the Volcan. Steak and prawns, Oaxaca. Tacos al Pastor, Molcajete. Salsa is not about the heat, it's about the flavor. My work here is done.
Who is that? I don't know.
Pancho Villa Taqueria. I recommend it.
Our work is something to be proud of. We make the products people use, the products that make their lives simpler, the high-tech tools to help defend our country, and the innovations that will shape the future. Some say American industry can't keep up anymore. I say our work is proof that made in the USA still means something. The power professionals of the IBEW, proudly American, proudly union.
I've been coming to Mobius for over a year, and it's changed my life. Ever since I started coming here, I've gotten in more shape. I've met great people.
If you're just new and you want to start out, you don't have to find your own way to do it. You get people that are showing you exactly what you need to do, so it gives you a perfect program.
The classes are great. There's high energy. We like to have a great time. They play great music, and we get a workout in super quick, and we can get on with our day.
Our smiles can light up a room. Our work can light up an entire city. We're the men and women of the IBEW, working with a code of excellence that guarantees the job will be done right, on time, and safely. We're lighting the path to the future. Let us show you just how bright that path is.
Welcome back to Mayo Family Field. Stephen Davies and Bob Green, pleased to be with you here on a beautiful spring afternoon in the city by the bay. What a first half of action we had with the Crusaders leading this game 20-14. But if you're just tuning in, the Crusaders led 20-0 at one point, and not only that,
Wild half.
yeah, and not only that, but Sacred Heart Cathedral had thrown an interception in the end zone with the Crusaders up by 20. But the pendulum has most definitely swung back in the favor of Sacred Heart Cathedral, who will now receive to begin this second quarter of play. And Bob, it looked for a minute like we weren't going to have much of a game here this afternoon, but boy, this game has caught fire, especially in the second quarter.
I kept bringing it up that there was a lot of time left. The other thing is that you've got a situation. I kept bringing it up about a lot of time left in the game, but on top of that is we've got some action here once again. Oh my goodness, this might go for a big one.
Well, that was
for a second it looked like everybody's going to run past him in a purple uniform. But I was saying that there's a lot of time left. The other thing is Riordan had the advantage it had largely because of the 2 defensive touchdowns that were just kind of single plays and somewhat aberrations. Granted, Riordan made those plays, but the feel of the game wasn't exactly a 20-0 game.
Right. But full credit to Coach McLaughlin and the Fighting Irish for clawing their way back into this one. And had a chance at the end of the first quarter to even have taken the lead, but that penalty on the final play of the first half prevented the Fighting Irish from taking a lead into halftime.
Well, if it hadn't been for that, the Irish would have the lead.
Yeah.
I believe that ball was caught, and he was in bounds in the end zone. So something to keep an eye on. There's a good first down run, too, over the left side of the line by the Irish. And we've talked about this earlier in the broadcast. I mean, they've had the ball a bunch in part because of the 2 defensive touchdowns by the Crusaders.
That was Derek Regans there on the previous play with the carry. Single receiver to each side of the formation here for Dowling. And he will hand off to number 6, Jerry Mixon, and a flag in the secondary here.
And that looks like the type of flag that would be on the defense, coming in late.
Referee Mac Parfit has been busy.
Yeah, he's been very busy.
Yeah, has been busy at times during the course of this one so far.
No, it looks like, it's actually against Sacred Heart Cathedral. So Mark Modest is going to have to decide what he wants to do. Does he back him up or make it third down? I think he's going to back him up.
Still waiting for the signal here. Legal block in the back. And we'll take a look at the replay here. Oh, it might have been that little push there at the end. Hard to see, but in the meantime, they have indeed opted to push the Fighting Irish back. So the ball will be spotted on the 17-yard line or so. Second down and 13. Dowling, a busted play. Trying to make things happen, but nowhere to go there with the swarming Riordan defense there to meet him.
Very significant play. It's been a while since Riordan has stopped the Irish. So you stop them here, and you'd assume you'd have a chance at a return and some decent field position. Dowling has been tricky on plays like this. He's made plays, kept plays alive, and then pushed the ball down the field. And in one-on-one situations, all too many times for the Crusaders, somebody in a white jersey and a green helmet has won the one-on-one battle.
No gain on the previous play. It's third down and 14 from the 16-yard line of the Fighting Irish. Dowling dumps this one off.
Middle screen.
It is caught. Oh, nice effort here. Great move. Staying on his feet across the 25 to about the 26. That's Mixon.
He did not get the first down, though.
Yeah, good 5 yards shy of that.
Sacred Cathedral didn't hesitate. They sent out the punting. They did have that fake earlier, and that kind of become a footnote. It could have been really significant. Riordan stopped them and had a chance to really blow the game open, and they did not.
Keep an eye on the snap here. I saw them working on it in between. This is a much better snap here for Dara Keene. Almost like a rugby-style kick there, taking a couple steps before laying into it the left boot. It's fielded cleanly at the 41, and the Riordan.
So Riordan, good job by Aiden Jackson there. It's easy to not want to catch the ball. He didn't fair catch it, which he probably should have, but he did secure it and hold on to it, and that's significant because, again, you don't catch that, then all of a sudden you lose possibly 20 or more yards of field position. Instead, he catches it, he holds on, now all of a sudden you're in business, and again, you get the stop on defense. You kind of stop the flow of Irish offense. And now you see if your offense could do something.
It's a relatively short field here for the Crusaders. 1st and 10 from their own 41-yard line. Ledbetter will go on the center here, receivers to each side. And just a single tailback here. Will hand off and gain a couple. Cutting to the left side there is Faison Ruth.
Good lead blocking there by Douglas Pineda. We haven't seen Atu Kefu much here in a while on offense. He was a featured player in the early part of the ball game. Obviously, he's been involved big time on defense.
I'm looking down at him really straight ahead of where we are. He's getting his, looks like his right index finger taped up. Yeah, we didn't see him a lot, especially on offense there in that second quarter. And it seems like after he scored the touchdown there on the fumble recovery, we haven't seen much of him since. In the meantime, it's Ruth, this time to the right side for a gain of a couple. And it's going to bring up a 3rd down and about 2 to go.
And this might be high school 4-down territory. At other levels of football, you do not go for it in this spot of the field in this part of a game if you don't get it here. But assuming you don't lose much, this could be 4-down territory for the Crusaders. It's just very much a part of high school football in a way that it's not in other levels of the game.
So Cafu is now into the game. And I imagine he would get his number called in this situation here as they need a long 2 here for 1st down and some movement at the line of scrimmage. Both sides pointing at each other. And this is going to go against the Crusaders. And a false start, and that's going to push him back 5 yards. Take a look at the replay here, and it looked like the right guard was the first one to move. So pushes the Crusaders back 5 yards, be 3rd down and 8. Needing to get to the 49 and the Fighting Irish here for a fresh set of downs. Clock's moving here in the 3rd, ticking down towards 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter of play. Long count from Ledbetter, flushed out, goes one way and then another. Keeps it himself, burrowing forward, reaching forward, and he should have the 1st down. Azan Ledbetter, just enough with that 2nd or even 3rd effort there to reach across midfield. And are they going to signal a 1st down? They're going to call for the chains. I think they're going to have the chain gang come out to measure this one. So the spot appears, from my vantage point at least, to be generous. Although Ledbetter, as we mentioned the 3rd time of asking, definitely extended his reach. And perhaps with that effort, he had just done enough here to move the chains for the Crusaders. Well, we got a brief moment here. Our colleagues, Jason Neal and Steve Nicolopoulos, are down the road in San Mateo. They're bringing the Hillsdale versus Menlo matchup. So another CCS matchup going on. And about half the football ahead of the chains, so it will be a 1st down for the Crusaders.
Mark that play down if Riordan wins this game, because that was a busted play after a penalty.
Right.
And now it's Riordan 1st and 10 right around midfield.
And again, the experience of a guy like AZ Ledbetter there with just enough reach to garner the 1st down. He goes under center here on 1st down, hands off to Faison Ruth. And he's met by a host of Fighting Irish defenders here. A gain of about 4 brings up 2nd down.
Somebody's down for Sacred Heart Cathedral. I hope he's okay.
Way off the play there, too. I mean, not really even involved, and it looks like a cramp.
Yeah, it might be a cramp. You're not thinking cramps. Usually you get cramps in August and early September. It's March, but again, it's the equivalent of August and September in a football season.
Beautiful day here, as we alluded to at the top of the broadcast.
It is interesting, though, right? There was so much energy in the first half of the game, not just because of the plays, but also just the energy of playing. And things have really settled down here in the third quarter.
Here's a look at the run from Ledbetter. And watch here at the end of the play, right there as he reached forward. He was well tackled there. Evan Branch Haynes, one of the captains, the senior defensive tackle there on the charge. And that's the injured player. That's Tyrese Ivey.
So that's really significant.
Yes, it is. That's been, no doubt, Dowling's favorite target man on offense. Ivey playing both ways here today, but gingerly walking off the field would be an understatement here. So we'll keep an eye on him to see if he's going to come back.
That's obviously significant on defense for the moment, but it's really significant when the Irish are on offense. He's been a monster in this game.
2nd down and 5 from the Fighting Irish 44. Ledbetter looks left, fires left, has an open man and overthrew him as he was looking for Leo Morangi. First time I think he's really targeted Morangi here today, the senior, one of the captains here. Another guy that's played 3 years here, if I'm correct, in varsity, at the varsity level.
Somebody came free, too, and was right in AZ's face as he kind of had to lean back to float that ball. Probably affected the throw quite a bit. So significant play. Again, this is a situation where you pick up 2 or 3, you probably go for it, right? You go backward, you probably punt.
3rd down and 5, 6:46 remaining in this third period of play. First half absolutely flew by. Ledbetter under pressure now. Tries to unload, nowhere to go, throws it, it's deflected. It's going to be an incomplete pass.
Good job by Ledbetter there. It wasn't conventional by any means, but it's just an incomplete pass.
But you have to like how he targeted the part of the body that would make it difficult for the receiver first to try and catch it to get your hands up, and then looked like he targeted right the upper left shoulder pad area.
Murphy again involved with the play. He's been active on defense for the Irish.
Would have been a substantial loss of yardage.
Murphy was there, and so was.
And there you can see Ledbetter there. The defender had both arms up, and Ledbetter threw right between.
And Riordan's going to go for this. And I'm trying to remember the last time they completed a pass that wasn't that throw in the end zone to Aiden Jackson. I don't think that they have. Oh, they did have the screen to Faison Ruth.
They called Ruth's name, and Ruth has the first down. And a missed tackle there.
They're going to say.
Sacred Heart Cathedral ripped the ball free at the end of the play.
Ball away.
And it's first down, Sacred Heart Cathedral.
As he was going to the ground.
Well, you can understand the fans incredulous that it's happened now a second time.
This one was different than the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was, especially looking at the replay, it was a missed call. This one, it wasn't as obvious. I mean, he very, very well may have ripped it out before Faison actually got to the ground. The other time he rolled over, and the official, I think, just got fooled.
Either way, Sacred Heart Cathedral have the ball back, and a promising Riordan drive stalls. And now can the Fighting Irish potentially take the lead for the first time in the game? And that run goes absolutely nowhere as the Fighting Irish defense.
Huge play by the Irish on defense, too, because it was a 4th down run for a first down. So the momentum again to Riordan, and then they turn it back. And you're seeing it a lot of these fumble situations where end of plays, right?
And this is a great slowdown here on the replay, and boy, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, it's possible, but
again, the ball was coming. I mean, there were points where the ball was definitely being pried free, but whether or not it was out of his hands before he went to ground. We'd have to see that again. In the
Here comes
meantime,
the
though,
blitz.
Dowling was under some pressure, and
Great
now he
job by Dowling.
escapes.
Just a great job by Dowling. He literally ran right through the vacated area where the blitzer had come around, and that was a really nice job. And that's probably, again, the thing about him that I love. He's got great moxie. He's got great confidence. You see him signaling first down there, and he really stays with it kind of regardless of how it goes. But I love his ability, his competitive spirit with his legs.
So the effort by Dowling has moved the chains here for Sacred Heart Cathedral. Have the ball on their own 46-yard line with 5:43 remaining, third quarter of play. Crusaders still leading this one by 6. Dowling turns and hands off to Regan, and Regan is wrapped up.
Good job by Joe Harbert there, hanging with it, but good job by the runner to push forward, lean forward, and get something positive out of that.
Looked like he gained about 2 yards or so on the carry. So 2nd down and 8 upcoming.
That was a tough run.
There are peaks and troughs in this game, to say the least.
Oh, this has been, I guess, what you would expect from a March football game, right?
A little bit of everything, that's for sure. Dowling here on 2nd down goes downfield and has a receiver, and he's out of bounds. Unfortunate there for Ryder Brooks, who made the catch out of bounds. 2nd time today that they've thrown downfield, but there's a flag on the play in the backfield.
Holding, it looks like, against Sacred Heart Cathedral. You're probably going to take the penalty, you would think. Again, part of the reason you take the penalty is because of the 4-down aspect of things, right?
The penalty is declined.
Absolutely a fumble. We get great angle here. Absolutely a fumble.
Yep. Just really difficult from our vantage point, but on the sideline to have seen that.
So very good call by the officials. And a big moment for Riordan, spoiled by an even bigger moment for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
3rd down and 8. High snap. Dowling has it. Looks downfield. Looking for his receiver. Wow, did he make that catch?
Somebody's got to make a call there. I think they're going to call catch.
That is an unbelievably difficult catch to make.
Well, or maybe not. He threw the ball. The official over there threw the ball back. So he didn't signal incomplete, though.
No.
But he threw the ball back, I guess, to signify, hey, it's not a catch, I guess. That's how I take that.
But again, no signal over on the far side, so everyone was kind of standing around and watching.
And when you don't get a signal, you assume he's going to come in and say catch.
Look at that.
Great effort.
That is
he almost pulled it off.
Standing catch.
The ball.
And it sure, from first glance, when I was watching it live, it sure looked like he reeled it in. Kicking situation though for Dara Keene. That's the rugby-style kick once again. And that's a decent kick on top of it across the 25.
Very nice punt.
Down to about the 19-yard line. So this game certainly back into slow burning mode now, but you have the feeling, Bob, that there are going to be some fourth quarter fireworks in this one.
It does feel like this game's headed to the fourth quarter with a lot on the line, and there's been big moments this second half. You know, this third quarter so far, the biggest moment, the 4th down run by Faison Ruth, and the ball getting stripped out by Sacred Heart Cathedral. So that's really the only moment of like real consequence we've had. But the only good thing out of that last drive for Riordan is they did establish something. They did move the ball and had some positive things go on up into the point of the turnover.
4:40 to go, third quarter of play. Crusaders offense back out on the field. Ledbetter unloads this one quickly, has a receiver, makes the catch across the 35, spinning across to about the 40-yard line or so. That's Aiden Jackson.
Great play call, great job getting Aiden involved. We haven't seen much from him since those early fireworks from number 6. He's probably the most explosive player on this Riordan team, and if he has the ball, the Crusaders are all that much better for it.
Tyrese Ivey, incidentally, still being tended to over on the trainer's table. The helmet is off, so we expect his return to the game won't be anytime soon. As we take a look at the replay there, the catch by Jackson. It's another first down, though, from the 39-yard line for the Crusaders. Long count from Ledbetter, looking to the left this time. Has an open man, a lot of pushing and shoving. They want a flag, they didn't get it. Coaching staff absolutely incensed for Riordan. And some pushing and shoving between Morangi and the cornerback. But the official here on the near side unfazed.
We've been so conditioned, every ball like that, we're expecting some sort of flag. You don't get as many pass interference calls down the field in high school as you do at the collegiate or certainly the NFL level. They are real sticklers for it at the upper levels of football nowadays. You still get the game called a little bit differently at the high school level, and there's an example of it. I'm not saying that should have been a penalty or shouldn't have. You just don't see it as often.
So incomplete pass, second down and 10. Ruth is wrapped up, and that's a nice defensive play there by Sacred Heart Cathedral. A nice bit of sportsmanship at the end of the play as well, as Bruce Superracer brings Faison Ruth back to his feet.
He's been a great player for the Irish today, both sides of the ball, and that's a huge play now because you got 3rd and long, and the Crusaders don't have the type of offense that loves to just drop straight back and throw the ball.
Still looking around for Tyrese Ivey. Still looks like he's being worked on. We'll keep an eye to see if he makes it back into the game. It's 3rd down and 12, though, here in the meantime. Crusaders still leading 20-14. No scoring by either team.
No scoring
here
by
in the
Riordan
third quarter.
since the first quarter.
Yeah,
since
good
those
point.
2 defensive touchdowns.
Ledbetter surveys the scene, takes a deep breath. He's ready here on 3rd down and 12. Play action.
Uh-oh.
Throws this one high into danger. Oh, what a catch! Oh, my goodness, Leo Morangi.
Leo Morangi. I said uh-oh because all I was thinking was that hope it's incomplete. If you're a Riordan fan, most likely it's going to get intercepted just by the way it came out of AZ's hand. But Leo says, no, Mr. Green. We're good to go.
A lot of loft on that pass, but let's have a look at Morangi's adjustment here to make the grab.
And it's Riordan now, a Riordan receiver making a big-time play down the field. We've seen Sacred Heart Cathedral do it a bunch today.
We've seen some catches here today that would be fitting of any playoff or championship game. No shortage of delights for the fans who are watching live and online here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. Whistle before the play. And a false start against the offense. So the penalty bug comes back to haunt the Crusaders this time.
And it takes away the opportunity for us to see Atu Kefu run the ball. We hadn't seen him on offense in some time. And he gets a chance to run it there on 1st down. And instead of 1st and 10 with him running the ball now, you march it back 5. And again, still decent shape for Riordan with the ball inside the Irish 40. But totally different circumstance now if you hand it off to Atu than before.
Well, you think, too, back to that 3rd down play where they had the false start call when they brought Kefu back into the lineup on a short yardage situation. So pushes them back 5. It's now 1st down and 15 here for Riordan. Play action from Ledbetter. Looking and overthrown Morangi this time, and well overthrown him. The coverage there contributed by number 3, Kendrick Sanders, the sophomore defensive back.
Very good defense. Good job using the sideline to be your friend there. And I think earlier pressure from the Irish affected Ledbetter on that, though. He didn't have the pressure that he's had in many of his situations like that, and it was almost as if he felt the pressure that wasn't there.
So 2nd down, 15. Again from the 37-yard line. Just a single tailback here, 2 receivers to the far side. Ledbetter tosses this one, and it is Zion Best.
They ran that play earlier, and the Irish snuffed it out. That time, a little bit more effective, but not much going there. It's tough. You don't see, that as much, a toss all the way back that far, and he's got a long way to go to get back even to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
It's more common. You think about guys like Tony Dorsett running for Pitt, and then later, obviously, for the Cowboys. Think about him getting toss plays like that.
A gain of a single yard on the play. So it's 3rd down and 14 now.
Not field goal range either.
No, certainly not. Play action, Ledbetter wants it all flushed out and has to throw it away. And Marangi doing his best to hustle back and try and make a play along that far sideline. But incomplete, so it's 4th down. And as you mentioned, outside of field goal range here.
And this is the spot of the field where you would almost certainly go for it on 4th down, but you've got a 4th and very long, so you really have to go to the punt. The problem is you kind of grit your teeth when you do it because it's pretty hard to pin them back inside the 10, and you're liable to just punt it into the end zone and really not do that much in terms of field position.
And it doesn't help having the Crusaders have the wind at their back here too, so any finesse that they might try to use to try and pin them inside the 10-yard line is not going to be helped by having the wind directly behind them here.
So special teams playing a huge role in this game, and it will again right now.
Decent snap. Oh, and the kick is a short one. Might have been deflected, but takes a kind bounce.
It's going to work out really good for the purple and gold.
And perhaps if there'd been real dirt over there, that ball would have scooted a few more yards.
That's right.
But,
the turf.
It's just a different color, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the result that the Crusaders were looking for. Is they pinned Sacred Heart Cathedral inside the 10-yard line, so it's going to be a long field here for Dowling in the offense, trailing by 6 here with 1:08 to go in the 3rd. It's true, though, if that had been dirt, that ball would have scooted at least.
It would have played differently. There's no doubt. We don't know exactly what it would have done, but it would have done something different than it did. And then also the Irish would be in a different position if they had to snap it on dirt right now.
Dowling look over to the top side of the formation, reels the snap in one hand. Dowling looks across the middle. Pass is behind his receiver, who takes a big hit at the end of the play. He was looking for number 21.
Had he thrown that ball on the proper side, that might have been a huge play. He had him up the seam. Throw kind of fluttered and went to the back shoulder.
Here's a look at the replay. Yeah, threw it behind him and coming into low with the boom there. Riordan player number 33. That's the junior Michael Gormley.
Gormley did a good job there not getting a penalty. It's easy nowadays to get a penalty in a situation like that.
Dowling
good
finds
call,
a receiver.
Middle screen.
And that's a really nice job there to bring it just shy of the 1st down. It's Dara Keene again making the catch.
Sam Casey with another tackle. He's been really active today.
Well, we got a brief moment. We did mention that the Stanfield Cup will be played 16th?
April 16th.
At Keyshaw. And if this is anything, if this tells you anything about that game, it's not to be missed.
Yeah, the cool part about this is this has been a really competitive game, and these two teams are going to play again.
Of course, play at the legendary Keyshaw Stadium on the grass over there.
Yeah, so it's like tennis, right? Tennis
yeah, right.
Where you go, well, we played you on this surface, now we'll play on this surface.
Of course, the Keyshaw no traditional gridiron, as we know. They got the throwback style with not the yard markers and so forth, but that would be quite. If this game is anything to go by, that's going to be an unmissable game on the 16th, playing for the Stanfield Cup.
See if the Irish get this off. The clock's down to 2 seconds. 1.
And they don't. So 12 minutes of football remaining in this one from Maya Family Field here on the campus of Archbishop Riordan. The Crusaders have maintained the lead since the get-go, but Sacred Heart Cathedral have clawed their way back. With 12 minutes to go, the Crusaders lead by 6. It's 20 in a moment.
I would rather look good than to feel good, and you know who you are.
That's right, Fernando. Looking good is important, and looking good starts with a great haircut from Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. No matter your age or style, the trained barbers at Sheer Design will get you looking good. Sheer Design in Laurelwood Shopping Center in San Mateo. Ask for Joaquin and tell him you saw this ad on BAOSN.TV.
I would rather look good than to feel good, and
12 minutes of action remaining here in San Francisco. The second game of our high school football doubleheader here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. Stephen Davies and Bob Green, pleased to be with you. And a game that, with 12 minutes to go, Bob, still really could go either way.
Been an awesome football game. We should have an awesome ending.
Dowling's under extreme pressure here. Somehow is able to elude it. Takes a big shot there from Cafu at the end of the
Great job
play.
by Dowling, though. He was dead to rights. It looked like Joe Harbert had him for a loss and a sack, and instead he spins away and gets upfield. He did get banged into pretty hard, but good job in what could have been a very, very bad situation for him.
Not the first time today Dowling's taking a shot from Cafu at the end of the play either, although this time did not. One of the involved a penalty at least.
One thing that's really stood out to me today, and I guess it's to be expected, the effort level of both teams has been really, really high. They've played really hard, and that's to be admired because it's been a rough year for them.
Oh, and that snap there went the wrong way, and a fumble, and the Crusaders have it.
I don't know if that was meant to be a snap to the running back.
It didn't look like it, unfortunately.
Well, quite a few snaps had been up and to the right
Yeah.
where Dowling had to kind of reach up. That one was further, but there had been quite a few. It consistently had been going that direction.
And Derek Regan said just perhaps was not expecting it, but the snap well to the right of Dowling. Regans couldn't handle it, and it's a crucial turnover for Sacred Heart Cathedral. And now, for the first time since the first quarter, the Crusaders really have an opportunity to put some points on the board. And with the clock starting to become a factor now in this fourth quarter of play, the Crusaders would love to give themselves a little bit more of a cushion here if they can. Receivers to each side of the formation now for Ledbetter, and a timeout is called by Sacred Heart Cathedral. Let's take a break. 10:10 to go. Fourth quarter of play. We'll be back right after this.
This is about more than work. It's about growing a community. Every day, the highly skilled, highly trained members of the IBEW are committed to doing the job right, doing the job safe, and doing the job on time. Because while we might be experts in our field, we're also your friends and neighbors. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
Welcome back. 10-12 remaining. After the turnover by the Fighting Irish, can the Crusaders capitalize? It's Faison Ruth, and he is wrestled to the ground. Tackle made by Jerry Mixon. And a Crusaders player that's a little slow to get up. That was number 55, Joe Harbert. So gain of 5 on the play. Second down and 5 to go with under 10 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter of play. So the clock continuing to tick down as we move into the late afternoon here in San Francisco.
It's been forever since Riordan scored, but if they score here, this game changes quite a bit.
It does indeed, and Crusaders leading by 6. Ruby breaks a tackle, down inside the 5, and in for the touchdown. Faison Ruth scores and gives the Crusaders, more importantly, some breathing room here.
They have struggled running the ball at times, but they were slowly but surely picking it up. And then right there, the right call at the right time. And Faison Ruth got around the left side, and then he was able to finish off the run. And it's interesting how this game has gone, right? The big moments for Riordan, and then everything kind of switched to Sacred Heart Cathedral. Now everything's kind of settled down. Riordan has the next big play with the turnover, the short field, the touchdown, and now we're back to a situation where Riordan's in great shape. It felt like Sacred Heart Cathedral was really in position to move it. In fact, they did for a moment, right?
Right.
Not for that penalty before the end of the first half. So now this becomes significant because, right, you want to push it to 14.
Crusaders have missed an extra point today worth noting, so that's why they're going for 2 here to make it a 14-point game, and a late timeout is called by Coach Modeste.
And it matters. The 14-point lead matters as opposed to 12 for obvious reasons. And one thing that's played a role I was thinking about all along in this was, you know, Riordan had missed an extra point. It hit off the upright on the left side earlier in the game. And at the time, you know, Riordan had a big lead, whatever. But it became pretty evident that Sacred Heart Cathedral didn't look like they were going to be missing any extra points. They looked pretty dialed in with it. So if they could keep that going, they could maybe kick their way in front.
Yep. And I think safe to say you and I have both seen games over the years that that an extra point, a missed extra point is a big deal.
Let's face it, special teams has played a role in this game in a lot of different ways. And credit to, say, Jack McNulty, the punter, that punt where he pinned Sacred Heart Cathedral back when that could have gone the other direction.
Right.
I get that he got a nice bounce, but still, big moment in the game.
Still about finesse, though. Still going to put the right amount of power on the kick, and that's exactly what he did. In the meantime, going for 2 here, and it looks good for Ledbetter. He's in for 2.
That looked like, and Tim Riordan, who is the Archbishop Riordan principal, he went to Notre Dame, you know, back in their glory days of the 80s. Well, he was there. I think when he got there, they weren't so good in football, and then they picked it back up. But Tony Rice, who was their quarterback on their 88 national title team, he would run plays like that where he fake, say, a dive and then just keep it and run through the hole that the fullback would have taken if he had gotten the ball, and the fullback becomes the lead blocker. So very nice play, a nice wrinkle to the offense, and they pulled out at the right time. The personal foul at the end against Sacred Heart Cathedral, too.
Yeah, and we didn't see that. Maybe we could see if our replay guru here at Matt Kaplan has a chance to call us up. But here's a look at Ledbetter here with the 2-point conversion.
Might have just been a frustration situation.
And you can see that right at the end of the play there over on the left side of your screen. We saw a push. Whether or not that was enough to warrant a 15-yard personal foul penalty is to be determined. But
sometimes the officials, I think, they try to be aggressive with that, you know, just so that it doesn't become bigger, and I can get that.
It would explain the sideline warning call we saw early in the first quarter of play.
There is still a high school element to this, and they want to try to manage that too. I think, you know, when you have really cool stuff like these broadcasts going on, and you have fancy uniforms and a really nice turf field, you forget that these are still high school kids. And you know, they're gonna get wound up from time to time, and so you want to try to get out in front of that as much as possible. But look at this because of the penalty situation.
So Jack McNulty with Aquino holding here will kick from the 45 of the Fighting Irish, and perfect position, put it right on the 1-yard line. So long field to return now for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
Great job by Jack McNulty. He's had a nice second half here.
Nicholas Dreyer there, the junior, the player returning the kick back. And I mean, that landed right on the 1-yard line. So he could not have positioned it any better than he did, kicking from the opponent's 45-yard line. So now, the Irish down 2 touchdowns. Not the first time today that we've said that. But now with 9 minutes and 9 seconds to go.
Another thing to keep an eye on, the Irish have used 1 timeout, so they have 2 remaining that could come into play as well. Very big drive for Sacred Heart Cathedral coming up right here. And they've responded when they've needed to today, obviously.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what they do. Without Ivy on the field, the ball is loose, and it's recovered by Sacred Heart Cathedral.
We don't have a statistician with this, but I wonder how many times the ball's been fumbled today. It has been a high number. There are fumbles in high school football games. This one has been, I think, even more extreme than normal.
5 or 6?
Yeah, I mean, and we were talking about fumbles lost, then just fumbles like that where you get it back. And I think that really goes back to just not having game reps for a real long time, because you just can't replicate. You can't replicate Atu Kefu in a game hitting you the way that you practice, no matter how hard you practice.
Tyrese Ivey is back into the game for the first time since exiting with the cramp. He's at the top side of the formation. Dowling looking for a receiver downfield over the shoulder and incomplete. He was looking for Uparesa. The coverage there was by Zion Best.
Really good throw and good effort, too. But good coverage by Zion there.
How difficult would that have been for Uparesa with the ball coming directly over his left shoulder to try and reel that one in. But it is do or die time now for the Fighting Irish. 3rd down and 16. They're on their own 5-yard line, needing to go 95 yards here.
You don't want to pump from here either.
No, you don't. And the high snap has been an issue for the Fighting Irish here on 4th down situations today. Dowling from his own end zone lofts this one downfield and just overthrew Ivy. And he was gone if he made that catch.
A.Z. Ledbetter misjudged that, and it got over his head. I mentioned that, like an outfielder, right, that misreads a ball. That was like that, and that could have been disaster for the Crusaders and euphoria for the Irish.
And Ivy, after the play, he was the intended receiver. He just went right to the sideline. So obviously he's still not feeling 100% after exiting the game in the 3rd quarter with the cramp. But now it is indeed the dreaded punting from your own end zone situation. And Dara Keane, as we've seen, kind of the rugby style run up, takes a couple steps, will set his feet and then boot with the left foot. But he doesn't have really the space to work with here this time. He has to kick it quickly, which he does. And a good kick, an excellent kick, actually, across midfield and out of play.
Very good. Under the circumstances, excellent. Great situation for Riordan, but that could have been much worse for the Irish.
Also helped that Keane had the wind at his back there to help out a little bit, to compensate for the short run-up on the kick.
This becomes a very significant spot in the game. Riordan can really put the clamps on, put some pressure on him. But the Irish now have a shot with that good punt to do something here and kind of switch it back and get themselves back in this game. So the clock is something to watch, though. It's going to matter. A couple of first downs, and all of a sudden you're down to 6 minutes or so.
1st and 10, Crusaders from midfield. Riordan fans doing their best to encourage their team here. They lead by 14. Ooh, better there. Was he trying to hand off? He gets wrapped up.
I'm not sure. It looked like he was trying to get out there and couldn't, and at the last moment said, I thought better of actually trying to hand it off. Could have had an issue. I don't think that was the play. It looked like he was trying to get out there for the outside zone or some sort of stretch or something.
It's almost like he thought about reaching with the right hand to hand the ball off and then realized it was a little bit further than what he was expecting and then held on to it himself.
Yeah. Barry McLaughlin, looks like there's a penalty that's going to be against Riordan, and he's going to decline it. Here, we'll watch it here. Yeah, he just stumbled. I don't think he meant to keep that under the circumstances originally.
I'm sorry, Bob, to cut you off there. I was looking at the end of the play. It looked like Ledbetter got a... Oh, that's the call. Never mind. So it's offensive holding there.
And then it looks like they declined it.
So the clock ticking down. Under 8 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter of play. Ledbetter has a receiver to each side. I formation behind. Ledbetter throws, finds a receiver. It's Morangi. It's caught.
That's significant. Again, Riordan is not throwing the ball great today, but they have hit some pass plays like that have been substantial in terms of their efforts to try to win this one.
Second catch from Morangi here in the second half of play.
Yeah. And you think about the difference there. You get the negative play, and then you get something like that. Now it's second and much more manageable, and you could do a lot of things from this spot with down and distance.
3rd down and 5 from the 45 of the Fighting Irish. Is Cafu in the huddle? Let's see. Yeah, he certainly is.
He is. He's at fullback. I wouldn't be shocked to see him carry it here. It's been a while since he got a chance to do that.
This is the sort of situation that you think he's tailor-made for at this point.
The Irish jumped.
Referee Parfit here will consult with his colleagues.
So it's been Riordan that's been penalized key moments today for the most part, but this is a key moment that goes against the Irish with a penalty.
And I think also maybe the first time encroachment's been called today too.
Yep.
And Parfit wants the chain gang there to issue that a second time. The command to move the chains, but it is 1st and 10, and that could be a huge play in this one. The penalty gives the Crusaders a fresh set of downs with under 7.5 to go. Faison Ruth already a touchdown to his name, and that's a carry close to a first down. It's going to set up, a second down and short.
And now Riordan, there was that moment at the end of the first half when it looked like they had lost their entire 20-point lead. They were helped out by a penalty, went into half with the 6-point lead, but things did not feel great. Then that third quarter, kind of a back and forth, not a ton of action. Finally, the big moment, the turnover. Riordan gets the score off the short field, and now here, a chance to really add to the lead.
They lead by 14. Can they add more here? Crusaders hand off to Ruth. He's got the first down. He's got way more than the first down. He's across the 15 down to about the 10-yard line. And the Crusaders are inching closer to a victory now. And another touchdown, Bob, with about 6 minutes or so to go would, I think.
Yeah, they'd be in really good shape.
Yeah.
And by the way, is it just me, or are they just running over the left side every play?
Yeah, yep.
They've been living on that left side. The touchdown ran outside to the left, and these runs have been to the left side.
So Ruth takes a breather.
That's out where Joe Harbert is. That's out where
And senior Douglas Pineda now into the game.
J.C. Campos is at.
At fullback, they were about to call Pineda's name, and instead we've got a flag and a false start. So the false start demons come back to haunt the Crusaders a little bit. That's going to push them back 5 yards. I just got a score update from Jason Neal down in San Mateo. Menlo lead Hillsdale 13-0 at the half in our other game on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. 6:07 to go here, first down and 15 for the Crusaders.
Clock is moving, under 6 to go.
Ledbetter hands off. Nice run forward there by Zion Best. And Best.
Easily his best run of the day. He hasn't carried it a bunch. He's been a productive player on both sides of the ball, and there he gets a chance to run it, and that was a good run by Zion.
He does well as spelling Faison Ruth. Took a couple plays off before returning to the huddle, which he does so now. Also exiting the field is number 22, Jordan Renteria, the senior.
So we're going to get an Atu Kefu dive play.
He's already got a touchdown on the defensive side of the ball. Why not add one here on offense as well?
Pineda's in at fullback, though.
Tailback is Ruth. Oh, some movement up front, and I think this is going to go against the Crusaders. And that has to be the 4th or 5th false start penalty against Riordan today.
Well, you can chuckle about it a little bit because you're up 2 scores and going in for another, but the reality is if you want to win football games, especially at a high level, you can't have this.
And there's the movement there. Douglas Pineda, the guilty party. Pushes them back 5 yards. 2nd down and 10 from the 10-yard line. So Ledbetter there was not happy about something, and the timeout is called.
Timeout, yep.
So the Crusaders have 1 timeout remaining. We'll take a timeout here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. Back with more action right after this.
Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green. Family owned, Gray's Paints is the Bay Area's leading provider of Benjamin Moore paint, stains, and finishes. Gray's Paint will provide you unparalleled paint expertise, environmentally friendly products, and premium customer service to help you successfully navigate your project. Gray's Paint and Benjamin Moore, available at 4 Bay Area locations: Burlingame, San Mateo, Redwood City, and Menlo Park. Go to Gray's. Gray's knows green.
Feels like the sport of football has never been away. What an afternoon of action we've had here at Maya Family Field. And it still is not over yet, but the Crusaders here just 10 yards shy of the end zone and a chance to put this one to bed if they can put some more points on the board and extend their lead. 4.5 to go. Crusaders in the driving seat in this one. Ledbetter rolls out right side, throws, looking for a receiver through his hands and out of play. It was intended for Aiden Jackson. Would have been his potentially second touchdown catch of the day. Kendrick Sanders, the man in coverage for the Fighting Irish.
Good defense there. Would have been a really nice catch by Aiden. Tough attempt there. So now the question becomes, if you don't score, do you kick a field goal from here?
And make it a 3-possession game.
But you also risk, something kind of funky happening and the Irish maybe having a real big play.
Thought I was thrown a little too hard there by Ledbetter, but it was on target through the hands of his receiver. So it's 3rd down and 10 to go here. Ledbetter, someone in the crowd shouted, "Go to the left side," which is what he does. Throws behind and almost intercepted.
Good defense there. That was Ivy, right?
Yeah, and looking for Morangi, and Ivy has had. I mean, he was in pretty much the entire first half on both sides of the ball, but has played sporadically here in the second half after cramping up in the third.
That injury, in the end of this one, when the story is written, that could have ended up playing a huge role in terms of offensively, especially what the Irish are able to do.
That's what I was about to say. It changed the dynamic of the Sacred Heart Cathedral offense, to be sure. And another timeout. That should be the last one. It is indeed for the Crusaders. So they stop the clock with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go. We'll take a break as well. We'll step away. We'll be right back with more here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network.
All right, now you're just like Danny, huh?
They'll probably never know about his thousands of hours of on-the-job training,
Here, go, Daddy.
or that he spent as much time in the classroom as someone with a master's degree. You and I know he's one of the experts when it comes to electricity, part of a team committed to doing the job right. They call him Dad. You call him the electrician right down the street. IBEW, the power professionals in your neighborhood.
So as we come back here to Maya Family Field, Riordan on a 4th down situation. Jack McNulty, the place kicker today, he has never before attempted a varsity field goal attempt, and it doesn't look like he's going to get to here.
It is indeed 4th down. They wanted a timeout to discuss it, but they have kept the offense out on the field. So no guts, no glory potentially here for the Crusaders on 4th down. Ledbetter, a toss. Jackson with the wheels, almost tripped over, goes for the corner, he's in, touchdown! A receiving touchdown and a running touchdown for Aiden Jackson.
And a defensive touchdown.
And a defensive
as well.
touchdown.
And I said the best players on the respective teams were going to probably tell the story. And in the end, Riordan looks like the Crusaders are going to win this one. And you got to believe Aiden Jackson, a huge reason why.
The cream rises to the top, and that has certainly been the case here for the Crusaders this afternoon as Cafu leads the chance over here on the near sideline, but the Crusaders now a chance to register, although, as we mentioned, not counting as a league game, this would be back-to-back victories over the Fighting Irish. That 2019 victory in the WCAL, the first time Riordan had won a WCAL game in 4 years. And something about this having a home field now, I would assume, after playing so many games on the road in places like Kezar. I think you mentioned Daly City.
We played at City College. We played at Jefferson. We played where Terra Nova High School, and we appreciate all those venues for allowing us to use them over the years.
But it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. And it affects a lot of different things. I mean, we had practice here yesterday. We played here today, right? The vibe of that is different.
And we'll see on the replay here, this is probably why they decided not to go for the field goal there on 4th down. As we look at the touchdown here, and Jackson escapes the shoestring tackle right there, and then no stopping him after that. But the extra point was blocked, though, and so instead of being a 21-point lead, the Crusaders are up by 20. It's 34-14, Crusaders with 4:10 to go in the game. So there was an excellent article written in the Examiner that we talked about at the top of the broadcast. The motto, catchphrase, I don't know if catchphrase is the right word necessarily, but Riordan Rising now with the new field here has definitely instilled a new sense of belief in this program. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes as far as how the players are feeling now that you've got a stadium and something to be proud of here on the campus.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of excitement about something like this, and there's kind of the eye candy of seeing something nice. But let's be honest here. What this really comes down to is just the functionality of being able to use a really quality surface, not just for football, but for all of our other sports. Like I mentioned earlier, we were able to play some girls volleyball matches out here when we couldn't go indoors. That wasn't going to be possible on our old grass field. So this turf field is about more than just kind of glitz and something nice or that represents something rising. It's about the functionality of being able to use something that helps our kids.
Short kickoff and fielded by the Crusaders. It's still on his feet is number 6, Mixon, before he's finally dragged down around the 41. And I apologize perhaps for the question, but you would still need to bring out one of those portable rollout volleyball courts to have it out here, or can you actually use the surface?
So what we did was we had the kind of the portable net or the outdoor nets,
right.
And then we used the baseball fencing to kind of prop everything up and tie it all up. The baseball fencing right now is out on the baseball field, the baseball diamond proper around
sure.
Home plate area. And then, we kind of did it that way. And then we, used string and laid out a court. And it was right about here between the 40s.
Definitely an A+ for effort, that's for sure.
Well, you got to get creative in a pandemic.
No doubt. Dowling steps up, keeps it himself to midfield, has a first down and more to the 40. Still in bounds. Sidesteps along the sideline over their far side and is forced out of bounds. So being that this, while we got a quick moment here, being this is a new facility here, especially here in San Francisco, what's the likelihood of holding, playoffs or championship games here that would not feature the Crusaders down the line?
I mean, anything's a possibility, and we're open to a lot of stuff. Our focus is to get as much out of this for our student athletes, and now the girls with us going co-ed as we possibly can. But down the line, that is a possibility.
Dowling looks downfield, has a receiver. Ivy, did he catch it? He did, and it's a touchdown for Sacred Heart Cathedral.
All day long, the deep ball's been there.
Tyrese Ivy, his second touchdown catch.
And this game's not over.
No, it is not. I mean, there's still 3:42 to go. The Irish have trimmed the lead back to 14.
Scored very quickly, and Sacred Heart still has 2 timeouts as well.
Going to go for 2 here. Well, maybe not. No, they are going to kick the extra points. Dara Keene is on. The holder is Aiden Shea. And Keene's left-footed boot.
These are important extra points, as we've talked about.
Kick is up, and it is no good. Wide left. Wow. I wonder if we...
I jinxed him.
So we'll see here now on the replay just where this is missed. In the meantime, let's first take a look at the touchdown. And Tyrese Ivy just has the height and the reach advantage there, despite the good coverage by the Crusaders.
Great ball by Dowling, and Ivy just being awesome, really.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to. And again, him having to miss that chunk of time with the lower body injury, clearly significant in the game in terms of how it appears right now it's going to end up.
Well, Riordan are out of timeouts. They lead by 14. Sacred Heart Cathedral still have 2 remaining. But a missed extra point now.
And something to keep an eye on here. Earlier in the game, right, there was a situation where the Irish scored a touchdown and then, kind of punched the ball down with the short kickoff and were able to recover it. So that could be in play. You got to handle this.
Only the hands team are out for the Fighting Irish. Meantime, the Crusaders seem fairly well organized as to what they want to do here on the kickoff.
Well, they want to get as many hands guys out there as possible, and
they've got 3 back deep. And here they go quickly on the well fielded, nicely done.
Nice job. That was well executed, I thought, by Sacred Heart Cathedral, and they caught him off guard. But
Chris Murray with the sure
really
hands.
Handled that. And that wasn't an easy play to kind of slide and then reach up,
right, and go to ground and cover the ball at the same time. But
and try to do that catching a football that's bouncing.
Like with 11 guys running at you too.
Yeah, like you're playing second base. Not easy.
Dara Keen's extra point attempt goes wide left.
Riordan's got to pick up some first downs here and call it a day.
3:42 remaining in this one.
It is going to be intriguing to see these teams get to play again. You often don't see that in high school football, obviously.
No, certainly not.
So I think it'll be a unique situation.
First and 10. Hand off to Ruth, and Ruth.
Good job by Faison to just hold on to the ball. And we were talking about them running left so often, then they finally run right and they have a nice game.
Yep. Faison Ruth, though, safe to say, is picked up right where he left off. He rushed for 985 yards last season before getting injured in the game prior to the Sacred Heart Cathedral game, the end of 2019. But he's shown why he's the lead running back for this team today.
Absolutely, and he's one of the leaders on the team and got off to a bit of a slow start today, in part, I think, because of the defensive touchdowns. They weren't out there a ton on offense in that first half, but he's had a really nice second half, and I'm sure his overall numbers will look really good when it's all said and done.
Atu Kafu into the game. He's lining up in front of Ruth Huron. There's the snap, and Ledbetter had to spin and roll to the ground to reel that one in. He knew the pressure was on to get that one back.
That's really significant too, though, right? You've got a second down, and
Sacred Heart Cathedral have called a timeout, so they have 1 remaining.
Yeah, second down in short situation. You've got guys like Faison Ruth and Atu Kafu to hand it to. You get a bad exchange, you lose some yardage, and now it's third down and quite a bit longer. You might consider throwing here, and Sacred Heart uses the timeout. They still have 1 more.
Right.
Again, Riordan's in really good shape. You wouldn't trade places with Sacred Heart Cathedral, but this game is not over. They've got a kind of a window to give themselves a chance, and it opened up a little bit more thanks to that play right there.
That's twice now that we've potentially thought that the game might, was in the stages towards being over, but anything could happen here. And on 3rd down and 8, the pressure is most certainly going to be on the Crusaders now, as they are out of timeouts. They have 2 minutes and 41 seconds remaining. They lead by 14.
So what do you do here? Do you throw it? Do you run it? What's your approach? Do you give yourself options and maybe have AZ run it if there's nothing there to throw with? I mean, I think this is the significant play, and you want to get the clock moving, but you got to pick up the first down.
They go Faison Ruth.
Faison Ruth.
And there he goes. That's a big first down for the Crusaders.
That's a simple solution. Give it to one of your playmakers and have them make a play.
Weaving one way and then another across midfield, across the 45, down to about the 38-yard line. And that takes a heap of pressure off this Crusaders offense now. The clock continues to tick down. Sacred Heart Cathedral have the 1 timeout.
But now if you're the Irish, you're in big time trouble with the clock.
Ledbetter, as you can imagine, not in a huge hurry here on 1st down and 10, with just above 2 minutes remaining in this one.
There's a handoff to fullback, not Atu Kefu. That is
Douglas Pineda.
Pineda getting the carry.
So the senior gets the carry and gains about 4 yards on the
He's
play.
seen a bunch of time in the second half.
And that flag came out really late there. And while the Crusaders go back to the huddle, so. Oh, that goes against Ledbetter. It's unsportsmanlike against the quarterback.
Almost certainly something he said. I wasn't looking.
Well, that adds a little, perhaps unnecessary pressure that Coach Badess nor Ledbetter would like to have at this point. But you talked about it a little bit earlier. These are the sort of mistakes that you won't be able to make against the likes of Sarah, St. Francis,
you
teams
really
of that
aren't
caliber.
able to make it against Ryder Cathedral. Thankfully for the Crusaders, they've made some big plays today to kind of overcome that.
Personal foul pushing back 10 more yards. Ledbetter. Oh,
ooh.
Did he lose that? And
he
it
lost
popped
it, and it popped right to Faison Ruth.
Wow. I can't wait to see that one again. Now, was it punched out of his hand, or was he trying to toss it?
So the Irish take their final timeout with 1:31.
And just like on the fumble recoveries for the touchdown earlier, a Crusaders player is literally in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. So now it's a spot where, I mean, considering the circumstances, and I know that this isn't necessarily popular, it's almost take a knee because the clock is your friend here, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a timeout. You've got 1:31 to go. 1:31 showing on the scoreboard clock. And here's the replay. He switches to the left hand and then just gets punched out.
And look at this. Takes deflection, look off his wrist. And he's reaching for it, but Faison Ruth is right there.
It ended up playing like a pitch. Like he pitched it right to him.
To the casual observer, it might have looked just like that, but it's the third and extremely long. They would need to get to the Fighting Irish 28-yard line. So it's 3rd and 22. It's a toss to Ruth. Flag is thrown over here on the near side. Gain of about 5, but we'll see what the flag is here. There's an unsportsmanlike conduct again against or sideline warning here for Riordan.
Stop. Stop the clock, Lou. Oh, no, never mind.
Waiting for Parfitt's call here.
Lou, stop the clock.
And still some consultation going on here, between the officials and referee Parfitt. But I thought I saw the side judge signal on sideline warning.
So the issue is there was a flag. They weren't demonstrative in their mechanics to let you know what was going on. They wanted it to stop play, but they didn't blow it dead. They weren't clear about that. Some time ran off the clock. Then they stopped it, and so there was just some confusion. The Irish don't have a timeout. I get that, but there was a flag, and they had to kind of figure it out. That's what I think happened. But again, this is the first game in a long while for a lot of folks, including the officials, and so sometimes in your mind you go, okay, there's a flag, but I have to actually stop it because the person who's controlling that is a long way from here.
Right. And thrown a good 30 yards.
Yeah.
So across the field from where the action was happening. But in the meantime, despite all the...
So now they've put 1:37 back on the clock.
And the Crusaders are going to kick. The Fighting Irish have a play back deep. We got another whistle.
Officials had to figure out. So 1:27, But again,
Oh, so that they had to change the clock
yeah,
back.
they
with-
put the
got it.
Yeah, 127. Kind of looking over. So the penalty stopped it. And now the punt. And that's not Jack McNulty. That's A.Z. Ledbetter. And it's going to be Irish ball with 1:18 to go. So, again, you wouldn't trade places with St. Cathedral, but they're not done yet.
So from the 30-yard line. So they have no timeouts. They have 78 seconds here. It's going to be the tallest of tall orders, I think.
Yeah, but they have hit the deep ball today. And,
And Dowling has the arm strength
Yeah.
and the range to do it. They're going to go empty backfield here. 3 receivers far side, 2 near side. Crusaders will rush 4.
And that is one way to stop the deep ball is to get pressure. They do here.
Dowling turns on the Jets, but
And that's
Try-
it looked like he was going to try to stay inbounds.
yeah.
And now they're saying run the clock. That's a huge moment.
He made a sharp turn over there on the far side, back towards the field to
Yeah,
play.
they ran the clock. You see the officials. They ran the clock because he didn't go out of bounds.
And now the seconds are ticking away for Sacred Heart Cathedral. And a flag.
That's illegal procedure. They didn't get set up. They snapped it too quickly.
I unfortunately didn't print my schedule, but who to Riordan face next?
The Crusaders will be over there at St. Ignatius next week,
Okay.
next Saturday, for a ball game.
And then, as we mentioned, April 17th at Keysar, passes almost intercepted. Should have been intercepted. Should have been game over right there and then for Antonio Posey, who just could not hold on.
He jumped it, and he couldn't catch it.
Had it in both hands, too. Looks around. Not to be this time. But he will have the satisfaction, though, of the Crusaders taking back-to-back victories over Sacred Heart Cathedral. Dowling, under all kinds of duress, throws. Pass is caught.
Dowling is a magician.
That's first down, too.
Stops the clock as they move the chains with
Darake-
24 seconds left.
Darake with the catch.
Joe Kopp, the defensive coordinator, is motioning to his guys, get back up.
That's the guy in the yellow beanie down there?
No, that's Jason Simpson, the guy next to him with the headset on. Well,
Okay.
they both have headsets, but the one kind of walking back towards our way.
Will this be the final play of the game? Dowling. Pass through the hands, hit the official. Could have been intercepted by Samuel Casey, and that would have capped off his day.
So this game that was going really fast is slowed down.
Yeah, considerably.
In the final moments here, Riordan trying to hold on.
They're just 13 seconds away from taking a non-league victory. Dowling fires. Pass is defended and nicely done by the Crusaders. Chris Murray got a hand in there. And this now almost certainly
8.4 to go.
should be the
with
final play.
The basketball style clock.
Still time on the clock, but the Crusaders faithful here ready to celebrate.
Credit to the Irish today. They have stayed with it.
Certainly moments of real quality from both teams on display here. Dowling now, as the clock approaches 0, Dowling will
That's going to do it.
stutter step and get dragged down to end this game. And what a game we had here at Archbishop Riordan. The Crusaders and the Fighting Irish in a non-league encounter. A real battle here today, but the Crusaders come out on top, 34-20. What a game, Bob, your thoughts? The Crusaders take the win.
It was a heck of a ball game, and again, I want to compliment both teams for playing hard it's been a long time since either of these teams obviously have played a football game, and now they're out here, and I think they're having fun. They're into it, and they're engaged, and both teams deserve credit for a good ball game, and we're going to get to see them play again over at Kezar in a little while.
A sign of the times here is the two teams unable to shake hands. A little 6-foot hand pound there on the way out. And who's your player of the game here today?
You know what? Aiden Jackson. That's who I would go with. I feel like he was ultimately the difference. Atu Kefu early, obviously, but Aiden Jackson overall. I said all week that I felt like both teams were really going to have to lean on their best players. Both teams did, and Jackson probably made the most big plays on the day. I mean, you have a receiving touchdown, a defensive touchdown, and then also a rushing touchdown. So I think he deserves player of the game honors.
So these two teams will meet once again in just shy of a month's time at Kezar Stadium for the Stanfield Cup. And if this game is any indication, it should be an absolute barn burner. The Crusaders will travel to SI to play next weekend. And it has been an absolute pleasure here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network today. Let's recap the scores one more time before we go. In the freshman game today, it was Sacred Heart Cathedral taking the 22-0 victory. Here in the varsity game, the Crusaders return the favor as they run out 34-20 victors here today. Once again, for our entire Bay Area Online Sports Network, for our producer Jim Patramilli, our entire crew, and for Bob Green, my name is Stephen Davies. Thank you for joining us. The two teams split honors here today, but it's the Crusaders who take a victory in the varsity matchup, a 34-20 victory over Sacred Heart Cathedral. From all of us here at the Maya Family Field to all of you watching back home, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on the Bay Area Online Sports Network. Ciao for now.